them know that we are the American Indians. Copper color Indians, baby. A real Indian, American Indian is me, not from Africa. Remember,
African Americans here, but they recently moved here from places like Kenya, Ethiopia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Zaire. But now the brother whose family's lived in this country for generations, occupying space in all the locations, New York, Miami, LA, Detroit, Chicago, even if he's wearing a dashiki and sporting an afro. And if you go to Africa in search of your race, you'll find out quick, you're not an African American. You're just a black American in Africa taking up space. Why you keep trying to attach yourself to a continent where even if you got the chance to go and you went, most people that wouldn't even claim you as one of them, as a purebred daughter or son of them. Your heritage is right here now, no matter what you call yourself.
And we are not Africans. We are not African. Are you an African, baby? I'm not no African. Nigga, you a lying motherfucker.
Long live Ag.
Yeah.
How
These are my memoirs. Light up a cigar, smoke up the memories as I sit and dust them off. Why do people say it's just to piss you off? Ignore them, no call button and then dress too par. Now they can't test the guards, had to defy the odds. It only get tougher back then, we thought times was hard. Told them don't write me off, told them don't type at all. To all the ones that gave up, this a reply to y'all. That wavy haired kid that you knew, been on a tear since. The crowds was lower than the laughter, now that I'm hearing the praise for staying committed to something they played with. It was always about us, it's never about who's your favorite. Took my insecurities and made my future more secure. The way we moving, it's like we really been here before. The proof is in the progress from the year before. Furthermore, we wanted to further things more. They took another route, so what you think we kings for? No angel ever said, yo, who these wings for? Ain't no champion ever said, who these rings for? So don't question what God doing, who you live for. Start accepting who you are and what you do it for. Doing less, doing more, it's really either or. Meet them halfway when one close, here go another door. Here go your dreams, what you running for? Head full of steam, cause you want it, huh? But it's in your genes, you was born a star.
Yeah, damn, we done came far. The blessings soon pay off. I don't get a day off. Feel like the playoffs, they like, when y'all gon' take off? Dale got laid off, now we focused on trademarks. We just making hits after hits, no aid off. Now they wanna eat off the same plate that I ate off. They really be brainwashed, I sold ain't for trade-offs. Listen to these verses, these are thoughts that I brainstorm. People do me wrong, but nowadays I just pray for them. I've been under pressure, you can't tell cause I stay calm. I need peace and quiet, all I hear is the rain falls. Now all I see is green like my name was Draymond. ISO the brand and you know we gon' rain on. Shout out to the fans from the jump that stayed on. Rolling every hour of the day till the pain gone.
Time's been moving slowly, so we already in too deep. Can't get no sleep on each other, heavy teasing all day. And when the sun sets, you asking me to come through, kick it with you. Night turn to morning dew, then you
smash
places. My place is your place. My place. Your place. My place. Just face it.
Hey y'all, smash the like button. Yes, it's gonna be a hot mess today too. It's going to be a hot mess. So, let me cut this off. So, I'm going to say this. Abuse of power. Abuse of power. Immunity. Okay, let's first talk about this. The 11th Amendment. Let's get right to it. These governments, okay? I'm talking about the individual 50 states. Let's go there first. Have been abusing their power for years. And hardly anyone challenges it. Our constitutional rights have been violated for many years. And it's always been very, very tough for our people to get representation as it pertains to our constitutional rights as citizens. Always. It's always been an issue. Always. Even before Martin Luther King and those civil rights movement acts. Our constitutional rights have been violated point blank, even up to including this date. Constitutional rights are being violated. But everyone always stops at the state level. Everyone always stopped there. Your federal U.S. constitutional rights are violated at the state level and the federal level. Okay? First, I want to talk about this. You can sue a state if your constitutional rights have been violated. You can. Now, the 11th Amendment, let's look at that. I'm sharing this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. In the Constitution of the United States, the 11th Amendment says clearly, this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I'm not an attorney, but I am sharing things that I found. The judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state. Okay? But you can't sue when your U.S. Constitution rights have been violated. That's why there's always Supreme Court landmark cases. If you couldn't sue the government, there wouldn't be landmark cases. Can you give me a 1 if you understand that? Cool. Now, wait a minute. Give us 1 second. Now, okay. Here we go with the bullshit. Now, you do know that when you bring actions against the government that have harmed you, and it's as a result of your constitutional rights, we have rights to bring actions and take actions. Typical abuse of power and authority. Power, authority, it happens a lot. So, that being said, primary case. The Supreme Court struck down Biden's student loan plan. Struck it down. Why did they do that? Because they didn't have the authority to do it. Let's go there. It just happened today. Let's look at it. Let's just look at it. Let's look at it. Now, granted, yeah, it's nice to be it's very nice to be wipe out student loan debt. But that was a tactic for political reasons to get votes. This is just today, hot on the press. July 30th, Supreme Court strikes down Biden student loan forgiveness program. By a 6-3 vote, and you know the dissenters were the Aboriginals. How about that? Everybody else agreed to strike it down. Now, by a 6-3 vote, the justices ruled that the Biden administration overstepped its authority last year when it announced that it would cancel up to $40 billion in student loans. The Biden administration had said that as many as 43 million Americans would have benefited from the loan forgiveness program. Almost half of those borrowers would have had all of their student loans forgiven. Chief Justice Roberts said for the court, characterizing the decision as a straightforward interpretation of federal law. And Justice Elena Kagan dissented in an opinion joined by Justice Sonia Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson. So, clearly, I mean, you guys can read this. It's all over the net. But the point is, you abuse your power. He overstepped his authority. He didn't have authority to do that. All right? Even though it was a good thing, he didn't have the authority to do that. They do a lot of things that they don't have authority to do. And if you don't challenge it, it will never reach the Supreme Court justices' hands to strike it down. If you don't challenge your constitutional rights, it never meets. You don't give the Supreme, you give them the power to make the decision. If you don't challenge that you've been harmed in that manner, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. So, that being said, let's go here. Let's see here. There's been so much harm constitutionally done to our ancestors you would not believe. And there's no statute of limitation on specific crimes. I'm going to show you a list. I'm going to put this up. These are federal crimes. Federal crimes. Some of it's marked out. These are federal. Oh, let me stop this so you can see the bottom part of it. Fair use. Fair use. Let me stop this for a minute. Let me just stop this banner for a second. Fair use. So you could see. Let's play a little game. Let's play a little game. Of the federal crimes listed up here, of all the federal, and this is not all of them, but this is a list of federal crimes. Which ones in here, and I want you to type it in the chat room, which federal crimes have you been harmed by? Which federal crimes have you been harmed by? Just type it in the chat room. By the many different state governments and the federal government. Which one of these? List them. Type them in the chat. And I want to watch. These are federal crimes. List all the ones that you and your ancestors have continuously been harmed. I only got one. Taxes? Anybody else got anything up here? Can you think of anything else? D. Allen wants to identity. Come on, I know D. Allen is right on. Anybody else got anything? Don't let D. Allen Warren be the only one to get answers. Anybody else? Come on, y'all. Any crimes that our families suffered in the history of the Americas? Taxes, I did. Racial classification. Terrorism. Terrorism. Let's see. Let's put them all up here from the first one. D. Allen Warren said taxes. And he said identity theft. Legend Naga Charlie said taxes, identity theft, racial classification. Yeah. Their prison system, the new prison system. Robbery. Theft. Now they coming out. Their identity theft. Yep. Yeah, say all of the above. Okay. All right. All right. All right. So now there's been so much. Now I'm gonna ask you this question. I'm gonna ask you this question. When does state policies override? When does state policies, not laws, policies, override primary sources, primary governmental sources? When does state policies, when do they override? When? They don't. Violations. Classifying you is a violation of your constitutional right. Classifying people is a violation of your constitutional right. The commissioner of the Department of Interior has always been in violation of your right. Did he not step his authority when he ordered his agents to give you Bible last names, European last names? Did he step over his authority to do that? Listen, were these people when we had the federal government, right? When it was established, the federal government, okay. Was the Pope out of order? Did he step out of his authority? Did United States militia overstep their authority when they seized lands? Who gave the order for the militia in the individual states to seize land? Who gave them authority to do that? Hey, Choctaw babe, who gave the order for the militias in the individual states to seize lands. Who gave the order? Did they step out of, did they overstep their authority? I mean, first, answer that question. Who gave the militia the order to seize lands and remove people from their lands? Come on, can anybody answer that question? But the Pope is not a political he's not a political figure. He didn't work for the federal government. Who did he tell it to? Who did the Pope? Who you saying, D. Allen Warren? You're saying that the Pope gave the order? Who for them to seize the lands based on the doctrine of discovery? Hey, Sylvia. We know what made him do it, but who gave the order for them to take the action that they did? But we had a president of the United States, didn't we? At that time, didn't we have a president of the United States when they seized all the land? So you mean to tell me that, I mean, the president of the United States, hold up now. Let's look at that. Let's see. Let's go there. All right, let's go there. Let's go there. Let me make this bigger. All right. I need to make this bigger. Here we go. Fair use. Oh, damn. I got to put this shit up. Hang on, y'all. All right, here we go. Let's read. Okay. Let's read what the president's job is. He is over the executive branch. The power of the executive branch is vested in the president of the United States, who acts as head of state and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. The president is responsible for implementing and enforcing the laws written by Congress, and to that end appoints the heads of the federal agencies, including the cabinet. Hey, Lieberson. The vice president is also part of the executive branch, ready to assume the presidency should the need arise. Now, we now know what the president's job is. Okay. The president of the United States acts as head of state and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Okay. He's responsible for implementing and enforcing the laws written by Congress. To that end, appoints the heads of the federal agencies, including the cabinet. All right. So we got that. So now we know what his job is. Is there anything in that job description that gives him the authority to wipe out student loan debt? I mean, he acts based on Congress passing laws. Okay. Did Congress pass a law and say that you're a nigger, a Negro, Black, African American? Let's see, what else? Did any states, governments? Let's go look at the responsibility of the governor. So we got the responsibility of the president. So now let's go see what the governors do. All right. Let's go see what the governor's responsibility is. Where you guys go? Sheesh. This shit gets on my nerves. All right, there you guys go. All right, let's see what the governors do. As state managers, governors are responsible for implementing state laws and overseeing the operation of the state executive branch. As state leaders, governors advance and pursue new and revised policies and programs using a variety of tools, among them executive orders, executing budgets, and legislative proposals and vetoes. As chiefs of the state, governors serve as the intergovernmental liaison to the federal government on behalf of the state. Governors carry out their management and leadership responsibilities and objectives with the support and assistance of department and agency heads, many of whom they are empowered to appoint. A majority of governors have the authority to appoint state court judges as well, in most cases from a list of names submitted by a nominations committee. All right. Although governors have many roles and responsibilities in common, the scope of gubernatorial power varies from state to state in accordance with the state constitutions. So he cannot be in conflict with the state constitution or the U.S. Constitution. Governors are ranked by political historians and other observers of state politics according to the number and extent of their powers. Ranking factors may include the following: qualifications and tenure, legislative, including budget and veto authority, appointment, sovereignty, clemency authority. Although not necessarily a ranking factor, the power to issue executive orders and take emergency actions is a significant gubernatorial responsibility that varies from state to state. Now, not only can state laws and statutes, they can't be in conflict with the state's constitution or the U.S. Constitution. That goes for policies too. Policies can be deemed unconstitutional in state courts and federal. courts. Okay? There is no law, and I can tell you this, there is no law that Congress, I'm talking at the federal level now, because when you talk at the federal level, you're talking about laws passed by Congress up there where the White House is. There are no laws passed at the federal level that states you're a Negro, you're colored, you're a black, you're an African American. There's no laws. Congress passed no laws, no such law. Now, let's take it a step further. Cabinets and agency heads are appointed. Okay? So you got the census. Was the Census Bureau and the Department of Interior, are they overstepping their boundaries, classifying people? Are they? Have they violated your rights? Did the commissioner on the Department of Interior, census taker, did they overstep their boundaries when they sent their agents out to give you English Bible names? Were they in violation? Was he in violation? Did it? Now, if the president overstepped his boundary as struck down by the Supreme Court for, oh, thank you, baby. Love you. I'm going to turn my camera on and tear it up. Big Willie brought home some pizza for me, y'all. I'm going to eat it in a minute because I'm hungry. But seeing that the highest person in the position of power, the president, he has the highest position on this landmass. And he's over the army. He's over the militia. He overstepped his authority. So, being an appointed person in a federal position is the Department and Commissioner of Interior overstepping their authority? That's my question. Are they and have they overstepped their authority? When they classified citizens and gave them English Bible names, did they overstep their authority? Were our ancestors violated? Are you violated today? I'm open to panel because this kind of conversation, yep, that's right, Sylvia. This kind of conversation does not require me not to leave my chat not open. So I'm going to put the link in the chat because this is one of those dialogue conversations where we talk and we talk about this back and forth. This is important. So let me put this in the chat room. Paste. And you can hit the panel. All right, come on here. Get up there. You get up. I'm going to pin the message. Today I'm going to be very careful about who I let on. These fake people. You got to show your face in the background. Nobody else can see it. Oh, this is okay, there it is. I got it out. Because I got porn bombed. And I want to have a dialogue with people because I have more stuff to show. But it's today I think it's a little better if we're able to dialogue. Hi, Dominic. Salute everybody in the chat. I would like some dialoguers to come up on the panel with me so we can talk about this back and forth because I have other things to show. And I'm trying to get you to think critically with the information that I have. I need a napkin. Can some brave soul come on the panel? Ali Bambo, are you there? Some brave panel. Some brave person step to the panel. I can't move forward until somebody comes up and dialogue with me. No one? It's pinned to the top, Dominique. Thank you, love. Anybody can come up. Here's the link. Come on, somebody come on up. Oh, I have to put it here. It's in the chat. There it is again. I put it in there. I'm going to wait. Hello? I mean, hi, Uzel. The link is in the chat to join the panel. Word, it was the commissioner, did the commissioner of the Department of Interior overstep his authority? Okay. I'm going to see. I'm going to make sure that's somebody. That's Dominique. Okay. He's a real person. I don't think I'm going to get porn bombed. Please. No peepees today. No peepees.
I'm at work.
Oh, okay.
I'm at work. But this is my first time actually coming on live. And I just got a quick question to ask y'all, like to ask you in YouTube land. That I hear y'all brothers and sisters be on here talking about this and that, which is very informational, you know what I'm saying? It's very good info. But it's like, what's the outcome of it? Because I've been listening to this stuff since Taj Tariq Day, all the way back to Shy Netta when he first came on with brothers like Brother Larry. And it's like it's all the same, you know? And it's not like ain't no like no conclusion, just a never ending game. You know what I'm saying? And like what's the point? Now I know what's the point, especially with YouTube. It's like getting views and stuff. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? But like, what's the real point of this shit, though? You know what I'm saying? A lot of niggas can't answer that shit. Well, I ain't mean to curse at you or whatever, but a
Is
lot
that
of people,
fine? No, it's fine.
a lot of people don't. Only thing they want to do is come on here and just express themselves, and that's cool. You know, that's cool. That's freedom of speech. You know what I'm saying? That's like one of the amendments. But it's like, what's the end game? What's the outcome of it? Like, cause you know, things don't. I mean, you can say one thing, but it's actually what's doing this. You got to do sometimes, you know. And I hear you the other day talking about you got a case going on with whoever, with your state or whatever. That's cool. But what's like the end game? Like, what's the
It's not
result?
my state. It's in DC and district court. I live way in Connecticut.
Oh, okay, my fault. But I heard that on your I was listening the other day on your when you on your video and shit, and it's like that's very like inspirational because that can make other people trying to follow suit. But like, what's like the end game? What's the outcome? Because I don't feel things gonna change. Y'all can say or talk what y'all want to say. It ain't gonna change. This shit been like this since forever. It's
Well,
like it says Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and all the greats, so-called greats that came across in the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, and the
but the
30s.
interesting thing about it, I haven't seen any federal court cases filed. I've heard I've heard arguments and protests, but that's something I've never looked up to see if um Martin Luther King or people like Malcolm X or the 5%ers, these people. I've never looked to see if they actually file cases in court in reference to our rights.
Well, not to cut
Now,
you off, uh, Malcolm X, from the research that I was told when he changed his name to Shabazz and didn't go by Malcolm X no more, he went by Shabazz. He actually was trying to go to the United Nations to file a suit against the American government, the U.S. government, but he didn't. Unfortunately, he didn't make it. And final speeches of Dr. Martin Luther King, he also was trying to tell his group or program when he was he was going to do the same thing, was going to Washington to go get our check. You know what I'm saying? Compliments. Dane Calloway showed me that video. I'm up on Dane like for some years now, and he very educated too with the information. So it's like,
oh yes,
all
he is, honey.
yeah, all these things that we got in place. I mean, it's right there. I mean, but I never seen nobody else actually went and finished or continue the process.
Well, my case is still in court. I can say that much. My next question is: do you know where?
Hey yo, what?
The question that I have for you and anybody else, I know, I know Martin Luther King stated that he was coming to get the check, but who was going to cut the check and where was it coming from?
Exactly. See, that's the main thing. Exactly. See, that's the main thing what I'm talking about. Like, people, you know what I'm saying?
See, I can tell you this: I filed my case, and I know who's going to make the decision.
Word. Okay.
All right. I filed my case in district court in DC, and I know the person that's going to make the decision on my case.
Oh, okay. That's what's happening.
All right.
Like,
so
yeah.
I don't know what paperwork Malcolm X filed with the United Nations. I've never seen the paperwork before, and no one's ever presented it to me.
Me too.
And
that's
my next question is, I know we said that he was going to go there, but did he have a scheduled appointment with the United Nations? Or was he
Okay.
just going to walk in the building and start talking? I
Check,
don't know.
check this out. Like, I'm 40 years old. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't born in that time of the 60s or whatever. But what I'm saying is this. It's
Me
like
either.
the information is basically out there, but at the same time, it's like you got to go through the proper steps to go get it. Now, I'm not trying to be like talking for no reason because just like I'm a man, just like you a woman, I could be trying to do the same thing, you know, trying to finish whatever you started, you know what I'm saying? But I got bills, I got kids, you know what I'm saying? I gotta work. I'm at work right now. So it's like so it's like y'all see y'all brothers and sisters be on here and y'all be talking, seem like y'all, I don't know y'all schedule, like I don't really know nobody. So it's like, I don't know how y'all schedule is. I don't know what y'all do every day, all day, you know what I'm saying? But I feel if y'all got the time to come online to discuss these things, that's the stuff that y'all should be discussing to get these things together so we can actually make a change and not just be talking all the time. Because that's
Okay,
basically what
well,
we do.
here's what I'm going to say to you, Dominique, but I work, Dominique, I work a 40-hour job.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when I come on live, I'm off work.
Okay.
And number two, when I come on and when I say I'm going to do something, I've done it. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I said that I was going to Washington, D.C. in front of the White House and combat Black Lives Matter and declare our race as a people. I did that. When I said that I was going to go to South Carolina and do the same thing, I did that. When I said that I was going to file a lawsuit against the United States in district court in D.C., I did that. Now I'm saying that I'm going back and file a second one to hit these damn nonprofit African American museums, and I'm going to do that.
Yes, ma'am.
So what I asked for people in a position like yourself who can't do what I'm doing and don't have the time because you have a job and you have kids, all I ask you to do is donate so I can pay for the lawyer. The more people that chip in, the less, responsibility is on my pockets and my tribe's pockets. If we're doing something to benefit everybody in our position or in our condition, I ask to please support so we could pay the filing fees in court, pay for an attorney. That's all I ask for.
Well, if I'm gonna be taking my hard-earned money to pay for anything, I need to see the logistics of it. Not saying that you're saying anything that's untrue, but I just need to see the logistics of it to see what's really.
Okay,
so it's like,
here we go.
I won't mind.
But wait a minute, hold up. When I went to the court, I was live going in the building, filing it. Hey, yo, when I went to file my case, the case for us, I was live in the courthouse, filing it, getting it stamped by the court clerk. That shit went in. I was live. How much more proof do you need?
I'll probably miss that live feed. Because I just recently,
hold up. It's still up on in my videos. Look for when it says Wire Nation live in Washington, D.C. court case. I file it live so everybody can see me go in there and do it.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to do it again.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, like I'm not like I'm saying, I'm not doubting whatever your progress is. Like I'm not on here for it. I'm not on here to say what you're saying is not true or trying to go against whatever you got going on.
You can't say it ain't true when I did it live.
Exactly.
And you heard everything the clerk said to me when I was live. So you can't say nothing to me because I did exactly what you said you wanted to see.
I don't know. We probably start off on the wrong foot, or whatever. But I'm not trying to antagonize you or nothing. That shit in my bag. But I'm not trying to antagonize you. I'm just trying to get more informed on what's going on. And I feel that you're a good sister. You're trying your best to do what you're trying to do. And I appreciate that. I really, you know what I'm saying, praise to you. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't gotta take your time out to do this stuff. You could be doing something totally different. You know what I'm saying? And I understand all that. But I'm just trying to get some clarification on not just you, all these brothers. You ain't the only one online talking about situations like these. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
okay, but here's my thing, baby. Listen to this. Other people have their own channels, okay?
Yes,
and I don't talk about what other people ain't doing that teaches our history because I don't know. It's none of my business. Their content creation and things like that, it's none of my business. I'm only worried about what I do. And I'm not going to downgrade nobody else.
But I feel that's the problem. When you say you just say what you said that the other people got their own platforms, talk about whatever they're talking about. But on the other hand, you got your platform talking about actually trying to have some action, trying to have some type of action with your talking. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we should be holding.
Yeah, but I hear other content creating channels speaking the same thing that
the whole. Then yeah, everybody got to be a part of that. You just can't say you doing what you trying to do, but you ain't worrying about what somebody else doing. Because at the end, that don't run hand in hand. Because if you trying to do what you got going on, and you talk about you ain't worrying about what other people got going on, that's like
and let me explain why I say that. Because it's their channels. I don't have a right to go to somebody else's channel and tell them what to do or what they should be doing. That's not right. That's disingenuous, and it's also very disrespectful. Sometimes not, but no, I'm serious. I mean, my favorite channels that I frequent. Listen. I'm gonna give you an example. I frequent Dane Calloway's channel, and I support his channel. I frequent Chief Holiday's channel, and I support his channel. I frequent Empress Hobart channel, Phoenix Moon channel, Aboriginal Powers channel, Ab TV's channel. I mean, I watch these channels, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's disingenuous for me to go to their platforms and tell them to take action. Okay, some of us now, let me throw this out there at you. First of all, everybody in YouTube is not an attorney. However, those individuals have heavy knowledge on our history, and their gift and their give back to the community is lecturing many things about our history that we've never heard of. So that's probably their blessing to lecture to the multitudes about our history on public media. Okay, perhaps they don't need to go to federal court and things like that because that's not their lane. Their gift is to teach and lecture to the thousands of people that are watching YouTube. That alone is a blessing. Now, let me give you another example. If it wasn't for all those people that I mentioned to you, I wouldn't have been inspired and hyped up to go and file a lawsuit. I filed a lawsuit because law is my skill. It's what I do. And that's probably something that they don't do. But I know how to go into court and file that shit. So you can't get upset and be upset about the lecturers in YouTube about our history because their lecturing helped me.
I'm not mad at anybody. I'm just saying I be watching YouTube all the time, and
Yeah, but
basically when
you're saying ain't
I
shit
watch it,
happening. That
in
look,
the
does
same,
anything need to happen for a lecturer to be teach? You the individual.
yeah,
Why haven't you went and filed a lawsuit for your violations against you as an individual? Why you gotta wait for everybody else?
that's the thing. I
Because
ain't
they could
never,
throw that at you.
I ain't had to file a lawsuit. No, I ain't have had no wrong thing to me that I didn't deserve. Like I done did some crazy shit, and I got the law of the land punish me for it. But I'm not on that shit no more.
I'm
I
not
don't.
talking about that, honey. You're missing with my point. I'm saying all this lecturing that you heard all these years about our history, right? And
Yeah,
what was done to us, okay? Instead of worrying about somebody else, you look like you're a dad and a husband and you have children. How come you haven't challenged the federal and state courts and agencies for what they've done to your family? You being dad. How about that?
but that's my whole thing. Like I understand what you're saying, but I don't understand what you're telling me. Like you telling me something that I don't
Okay,
got.
maybe.
Like
Okay,
you,
let me tell you this. How come you haven't brought actions against the state in reference to your family history and what was done to you and violation of your rights? Of how come you haven't done that for you and your family being dad?
yeah. What you talking about? Like, you got to be like a little bit more specific because I hear you
Okay,
saying
how come you have not filed a lawsuit against the government for violating your family's constitutional rights? With
particular.
all the information that you've learned in this YouTube world for all these years, like you said, how come you haven't taken any action to bring actions against this government for the harm that they've done to your family?
Yeah, that's see right there when you just say that. I ain't never heard no good. I ain't never had. I don't know what you talking about when you say that.
Didn't you just say that you watch YouTube and you
Yes,
named
ma'am.
some people
Yeah. Yes,
and
ma'am.
you learned about the issues that took place in our history, right?
Yeah, but see, that's like
Wait,
okay.
no, bro. Don't dance around now.
I guess,
You learned from Dane and Shiraz Tariq Bey of all the crimes committed against your family, right?
exactly.
How come you didn't
And
file a lawsuit? How come you
this,
didn't
this,
file a lawsuit?
listen for a minute. I'm gonna answer your question. It's like
Okay, doodoo butt.
I went to I went to court one time, right, for some shit I did. I'm not about to get
Low
in depth,
man, I don't know who you are, but you need to show your face because
but
I'm not letting you up here.
I went to court some years ago, and I was listen when I used to listen to
I can't see your face.
Taj Tariq Bey used to talk about status, like being black and white. That's a status. That's not actually an identifier. That's just a status within the fabrication of the United States of America. So it's like when he told that, when I was listening to him when he was explaining that, I took that to the courts. I used to have classes at the library talking about nationality and birth rights. But when actually I went to those places when he talking about, oh, man, those people ain't even know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't know if they
Okay.
decided that purpose.
What was the classified? If you don't mind my asking, what court did you go to and what classification did you put down?
Well, I went to the vital statistics office in my city, and that's one of the places I don't. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the places, Taj. Well, see, I don't want to just sit here and talk about people that I ain't with that, but I'm just trying to explain to you that's what I did. And during that process, why I did that is because of him and like dealing with like status, trying to change my status to be like to be national, well, to be like a national and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I tried the steps, but a lot about local government, they ain't know what the hell I've been talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like
Okay,
they,
okay.
they
All
was
right.
doing that.
What status was you trying to correct yourself to be?
I was trying to change my status from being black because I understand that black, according to Mr. Taj, Tariq Bey, black means you're non-discernible. Like
Right, but what
that's
is you trying to change it to, if I may ask?
well, just straight up American. Like just be a straight up American, just like you know what I mean. Like that's where I'm at in America. That's where my
You
family.
you wanted to change it to American.
Yes, man. Not being an African American, but just being a straight up American. Because I don't believe that we Indians neither. I believe that's a fictitious name been put on us, just like the word nigga, black, and all that other stuff. I'm being
Okay,
like from
so
America.
let me tell you this. First of all, um, you went to court or vital statistics, right? Did you go to court or did you go to vital statistics?
When
Because
I when
vital
I
statistics is where they keep your birth certificates and your death
yeah,
certificates.
when Mr. Todd he was telling me he was trying to tell me to get my birth certificate. Well, not tell me personally, but when he was explaining through his lecture, he was saying these are the steps that you need to take to try to see on your birth certificate with your mom's and pop's name. If you got certain abbreviations on it, then you already know what it is, and you can take that to the courts to trying to get your status changed. But when I trying to do those steps, I know people ain't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Okay. So you were misguided on how to correct your race identification. Okay. Let me give you this real quick, and I'm gonna turn my camera on. And clearly understand something, sweetheart. I'm just chewing. And I'm gonna break this down to you. Lomaine, I don't know who you are. I can't see your face, and I don't know who you are. Okay. That was so good. I'm sorry. I was eating pizza because I'm going to break this down to you, sweetheart.
¿Cómo estás?
All right. First, I want to say this. I don't know if you had a misunderstanding from, you said his name is Taz Tariq Bey.
Yeah, he
Okay.
with the Morris.
Okay. I'm not a Moor. I'm not a Moor. Okay. First, I want to say that I'm an Aboriginal. I'm American Indian. I'm not a Moor. I don't have any Moorish history, and no one in my family knows anything about that. So let me say this: I have nothing against Moors, and I'm not going to speak negatively about them. Now, I don't know if you. Now listen. You got to listen to me now. I don't know if when you went to do whatever you were supposed to be doing, if you follow his instructions properly. Can you mute up and then listen to me? Mute your mic. It's loud. All right, I'm going to mute you. Okay, I made you quiet. I just turned your mic off so I could talk. Now, I don't know if you follow instructions properly from him. I don't know. I don't follow the Moorish doctrine, okay? And I have nothing against them at all. But first, you need to know this. If you're a citizen, you're automatically deemed an American, all right, of the United States. What you want corrected, all right, and I don't know if you was trying to move yourself away from the United States power and jurisdiction over you, or if you were just simply trying to correct your race identity. If you were trying to remove yourself from United States having jurisdiction over you, any state government or federal government, that's a process that the Moors do. Now, I don't do that. I'm not a Moor. Okay? You're a citizen of the United States. You're automatically deemed an American. Okay? Now, I want to say this. If on your birth certificates and things of that nature, you've been falsely misclassified, if that's what you're talking about, if you have black, or I know you don't have African American on your birth certificate because that doesn't exist right now. But if you have like Negro, black, colored, mulatto, those are racial classifications. And that's not how you identify. That's not who you are. Is that what you're saying, right?
No, what I'm
So
what I'm
what,
saying.
I don't know how you identify. What is your racial classification? Mine, I'm an
I put
Aboriginal, an
I put down
American Indian.
on the application. I put down American Indian,
There you
Native
go.
American.
So
That's
you
what I do.
are making progress. You have made progress. If you're doing that now, you are making progress. And that's very good if that's what you're doing, because that's all it takes in United States is to make those corrections. Now, let me go a bit further. Let's go back a little bit more. You need to declare your race identity. You need to declare it.
Let's,
Now,
let's
why? I'm gonna tell you why. Listen, honey, you gotta listen to me. Nope, you gotta listen to me.
I got
I
you
know you
trying
gotta
to.
go back. Well, put the damn thing on mute. But
Yeah, I'm gonna put you.
understand this,
Gonna be, but
because
I'm
you're a
gonna.
citizen. Yeah, just listen. Listen to me. Yep, you can just listen. And I'm gonna mute your mic because your shit is loud. So, what I'm saying to you, Dominique, because you're a citizen that assimilated into the corporation, you became a citizen, and the state has jurisdiction over you. Okay, you need, and what also happens is there's representatives that represent you at the federal level. Okay, you want to declare it with them who you are, your race is. That's what you want to do because they represent you. You need to take ownership and who you are and declare who you are with that representative. Because once you became a citizen, you got a representative assigned to you that represents you at the federal level. And that's called a senator and a representative of your state. So you need to declare to them who you are and stop classifying yourself as those given racial classifications. Does that make sense? So I know you're listening, but hey, big dog.
What's good, Sister Bethany? Much love and respect to you and the family always. Much love and respect to everybody on the panel and chat. That was an excellent presentation, sis. I answered all the above to the crimes
Correct.
that they have done.
Yes.
And that's why
Absolutely.
that's why I take a lot of the stances that I take. And I'm with you 110%. But yeah, I was listening there. I didn't understand what the brother was talking about. That's an individual choice that
Well,
we all have to make.
right. Now he was explaining because I never met Taj Tariq Bey. I don't know him. And
Yeah, I don't listen to him
and
either.
like
Sister
A1
Beth.
said, you got your good Moors and you got your dirty Moors. Okay. I'm not a Moor. I don't know anything really about Moorish practices. Now, the ugly part of the dirty Moors I learned in YouTube with this paperwork shit. Okay. Understand some people took their lives because of it. I'm not saying all Moors do this, but I'm gonna say the dirty Moors start them. So I don't know if the gentleman, when he was getting his instructions from Taj Tariq Bey, if he followed them properly. That could be an issue too. So I'm not gonna sit up here and talk about a brother that I frequently hear about. That's a good individual.
Yeah, he
So
might
you know,
have didn't pay his dues that they wanted. Because they want some money. They don't want to do it for free. They do it for a
right.
cost.
Okay, so I don't know. I don't know anything about Moorish life and how they, do. But I'm saying, and I'm just letting him know that I don't identify as Moor. I'm not a Moor. I'm American. I am an original American. That's who I am. Facts. I'm an Aborigine. I am from this soil. So that's how I identify. And I declare that with the person that represents me. So when you go into Washington, you're representing me as who I am. Now, he was really upset about the fact that he's saying that nothing is being done. And I was trying to give him a breakdown of what's actually being done in the community. There are, my brothers and sisters, people like Ab, everybody that I named, they're not lawyers. So a lot of our people tend to stay away from the legal aspects. I actually love the legal aspects. It's what I do all my life. I really like it. Not saying that I'm this attorney and win all cases. No, I'm not saying that either. But I like to research legally. Some people like to research historical stuff. I like to research historical legal stuff. So at Power, prime example, at Power teaches ancient history of our people. Okay? Ancient history and being an attorney is two, and someone in the legal field is two different things. So he's sharing with the community of thousands about our history. I wouldn't know, again, I wouldn't know about this had I not listened to his channel. Same thing with Dane. He wrote a book about how to do your genealogy. I would have never done my genealogy had I not purchased those books from Dane, all of them. So I did my genealogy. So our people are in this community doing the things that they're gifted to do. Dane teaches a lot about our history. He goes from the political way. He goes a variation of different ways. He gets legal, he gets political, and he gets historical.
Hey, Sister Betty, you know what I say. Not everything is for YouTube.
Right. And the same thing with Chief Holiday. He does things from political, historical, and ancient. And he teaches it. When he's on, he teaches it. All right? That's a skill. He's not a fucking lawyer, so he's not going to go to court. Why? That's not what he does.
Hey, I wasn't angry or upset because
I didn't say you were angry and upset with your big face, but go ahead.
I was just saying, right? I was just saying that I be hearing a lot of talking, right? And it's like I just want to know, like, what, like, actually, what it really is. Like, I just trying to. Only thing I'm doing is still searching for knowledge. Man. I'm not trying to come off like I know anything. Really, I'm just trying to come off like I just want to know what it is. Like, be more informed.
Well, my hope and what I do on I can speak for myself, and I can also speak for a couple of other channels like Dane's as well too, because he has a purpose. And right now he's looking for that 13% so that he could move to the next step. All right. And all you got to do is sign up. So if he gets to 13%, he can move forward. But that takes participation from the community. All right. Yeah. I'm filing a lawsuit and I'm raising money to pay for an attorney. That shit can be expensive. When you have thousands of people and everybody send $5, $10, $20, we can pay a lawyer off if they give us a fixed salary. If they give us a fix, you know what I mean? It's costly to get lawyers to represent you. And it also costs to file a case. We raise the money to file a case. I can file it. But now I know in the future, if it needs to go to the next level, if our case needs to go to the Supreme Court, we need to pay a lawyer. I can't pay for that out of my pocket myself. So all I ask the community to do is donate to help us get it moving. I done things that people don't do in the past. Like, I get it. A lot of our leaders that look like us have hurt us terribly. So what I do to try to combat that and not get judged based on their actions is when I do go to court, I make sure I'm live so the people can see what I'm doing with the money they gave me to do. I'm filing this lawsuit. And if they see a lawyer, they'll say, okay, the money's going to file a lawsuit and it's paying for that attorney. I'm not rich. And just because I work for the government don't mean I have the money to pay for the shit that I want to do. So not only do I teach and share information I know legally and to get people to critically think, I do take action. And filing a lawsuit is probably one of the biggest actions that we can do as a people to heal ourselves. So, people have their own personal reasons why they don't want to help support, whether it's personal, some people personally dislike me. Some people feel that I'm a woman and I shouldn't be doing this because of their religious beliefs. There's a lot of reasons why, but I just keep on moving because I feel like it's what I want to do for my community. So if you're not going to do anything for you and your family as far as correcting your identity, maybe you should listen in a little bit more to our lecturing and continue to listen so that when you do go to court, you won't be confused about stuff. Have you done your genealogy?
I really don't need to do that because, like, I know my people's from America. Like,
okay, now you sound like Chief Holiday, the man who said he's the source, and I get that. But honey, you have to have proof to prove your lineage. How can you? Okay, let me say this. How are you going to prove by paperwork done by this government that was fraudulently against you in court if you don't have the paperwork to fight them?
Sitting there listening to you, sister. I want to find out the answers.
And then, how do you identify? You said you're American Indian, right?
Well, on the application, I'll put that down.
Okay, so if you didn't do your genealogy, what if you're African that came on a slave ship and you really are African?
That's highly unlikely because it's like I'm from South Carolina, right? And there's a place in South Carolina called Sandy Island that it just got noticed probably like 4 or 5 years ago by the public. And that's all my family is. That's where my family really from. We from, like, have you ever heard of Pawleys Island, South Carolina?
My family is from South Carolina.
What part? From South Carolina.
Oh my God, they're from Beaufort, York. They came down from York, Beaufort, and they Asheville, South Carolina, all that area. They came down from York and into that area. We never stepped foot in South Carolina and Charleston, thank God, because that was a damn colony. So I'm glad my family's not from there, and that tells you that they ain't no goddamn African.
Yeah. If you look up Sandy Island, man, you gotta take a ferry to Sandy Island. That shit ain't even connected to the land. It's an island by itself. You gotta take like a ferry over there. Like, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Then when you go over there, you just can't take the ferry.
You need to. You got your proof that you're from there?
Yeah. You see my last name? My last name Harriet. Everybody on that island last name Harriet and Pius. They're my family. Pius, Harriet.
Okay, but I'm just saying you need paperwork proof.
Oh, okay, like a residence. That's what you're talking about, like an address?
No, your genealogy with your mom's, the census sheets and the birth. You need to get your genealogy done, bro.
Okay.
If you're gonna stand who you are,
I'm gonna just listen.
Stand with your damn paperwork.
I'm gonna just listen. I gotta get back to work, but I'm gonna put on.
But that's good. You working. That's awesome. I salute you.
Yeah, I got 2 jobs. I work in the morning and I work in the afternoon.
See?
But I'm gonna mute up and listen to you. And if you can then I'm gonna listen.
Okay. So it is important to do your genealogy. It is, because a lot of us were here on the mainland, and a lot of us were shipped out to the British islands, places like Barbados, Jamaica. Some of us were shipped out to South America, all different parts of the Americas to cultivate land and be enslaved. And that's a fact. Some of us were even shipped over to Africa, and that's a fact. And a lot of people from Africa that were shipped there can trace their ancestry back here, and that's a fact, because a lot of them were taken from here, and that's a fact. Go ahead, big dog.
Nah, I'm with you 110%, Sister Betty. We have to do our genealogy. I did my genealogy on my mother and father, their mother and father. And like I said, my people been in Georgia for forever. That's what made me come back to Georgia. But, like
That's
I
where they're
said,
originally from, though, right?
yes, ma'am.
Only Georgia, nowhere else?
Born and raised.
Wow. I'm talking about your whole family. It's strictly mother and father's side is from Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. See, that's like me and my family. Well, my mom's side is strictly from South Carolina and nowhere else. My mom's side. My dad's side is from Florida and nowhere else, which is crazy. But at least, they weren't all over the place, which made genealogy so much more easier for me to do. I only had to search in one place. So, yeah. But yes, doing your genealogy is very important. I personally do not conduct lessons on how to remove yourself from U.S. power. I don't teach that. I don't. Bottom line, there's there's a lot. There's a lot to that, and it's a very important decision to make in your life. I personally don't feel that we have to do that unless we signed up for the 13% on something like Dane's doing, having our own sovereign government or state, wherever. That's when it's cool to remove yourself from this government to be in that one. So that I support, and as soon as he unblocked me, I can go and sign up for the 13% if I'm not already. I thought I was already signed up, but now if I'm going to remove my citizenship because there's someone trying to establish a government for us and our people only, and for our people or our own government, hell yeah, I would support that and remove myself so I can be with the government that I think will care more for me and respect me more in our own sovereign land. So I strongly support that. But in the meantime, being in this government, I strongly enforce declaring your race with this government. You don't let nobody tell you who you are. You don't do that. You don't let anyone tell you who you are, especially a true known foreigner. If your ancestors are not from this North American landmass here on the mainland, you are not indigenous to the Americas. And that's a fact. So anybody not indigenous to the Americas is not going to come in my life and tell me who I am. Back then, my ancestors had no authority or power. They were overpowered and told who they were. Okay? That's prisoner of war shit. They were given an option to convert or die. I wasn't given that option. I grew up in the bullshit. So I have a right to remove myself from that. I have a right not to be a part of no religious affiliation. I have all those rights, and I exercise them. And that's a fact. I exercise the rights that I have. I know that I've been harmed by this government. And so this is why I'm having these conversations today. Who gave, and I asked these questions and I asked it in the audience. I really would like to know who gave the commissioner of Interior the power to change the indigenous peoples to give them surnames. Was he that's the question today. Was he overstepping his authority to do that? When he gave the Aboriginals, indigenous people, surnames, did he overstep his authority like Joe Biden did when he tried to wipe out the student loan debt? I mean, that's the question I had in the audience. Did the commissioner of the Department of Interior overstep his authority? Are local state governments overstepping their authority when they limit you to being classified as who you are? Is it unconstitutional? Is it unconstitutional according to the federal government, the U.S. Constitution? Is it unconstitutional in their own state constitution to make classifications of people that were originally here first? That's my question. So I asked people to join the panel to try and dialogue with me to answer those questions. The link is pinned to the top. But I have to tell you, when you come up here, I do have to see your face in the back just to make sure that you're not a porn bomber like people like Rob did to me yesterday, but I got the shit out, and I still got it out of nice views. So if anyone could join the panel and dialogue with me and let me know if you feel that the commissioner of the Department of Interior stepped outside of his authority when he assigned the indigenous people surnames. I don't know. Was he? Did he overstep his authority? When he assigned all the Indians English Bible names. So, I mean, this is the time to dialogue. Dominique, do you think you could wave your head yes or no? Do you think that the commissioner of the Department of Interior overstepped his authority when he assigned the indigenous people surnames, which are the names you probably have today? I don't know. Do you think you could shake your head yes or no? Did he overstep his authority? Oh, I don't think he can. What ye say in the audience? Let's see. What was the name of the commissioner? You have to go and look it up. It was the commissioner of the Department of Interior who assigned the Indians, gave them English names. Were your civil rights violated? Was it unconstitutional? Is the state, okay, here's other questions you can ask. Are state officials stepping out of their authority, overstepping their authority when they don't allow you to correct your race identity when you know it's an error? Answer that question. Are state officials and its affiliates overstepping their authority when they don't allow you to correct your race identification, race classification? Can someone answer that question? Smoke, you got to hit the link and explain that to me, because that Smoke like to get it in with the law. The link is pinned to the top, Smoke. You said no, he didn't overstep his delegation. I need you to explain that to me, Smoke. Hit the link and come and explain it. Yes, that would be a violation. Smoke said no, he didn't overstep his delegation. I didn't ask if he overstepped his delegation.
I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna still be listening on my break. So I will still be listening though, but I'll go off.
Look, we be listening. You don't need to interrupt me. You need to get off and take care of your little business. And I'll see you when you come back around. Okay.
All right, man.
Bye-bye. Uh-oh. Here come the smoke. Uh-oh. Smoke. I got to smoke now because Smoke on the panel.
Salute. Hey, man, shout out to the channel and to the chat, man. Power to the motherfucking people. Hey, Sister Betty, I had to say, yeah, based on the logic and his historicity of the event, I would have to say that particular individual was not outside of his delegation of authority when it comes to those names or renaming the people. Right? I will have to use the logic to make that determination. Because had he been outside of his authority, then surely there would have been some ramifications for him doing so. Now, if you got a delegation of authority being granted to a particular individual, and you also got consent among the people for that particular delegation of authority, then you can't accuse that particular official of being outside of his authority. What you would have to do, you would have to either point the finger at the people who accepted it or the people who were responsible for that initial delegation of authority. And that's who the finger would have to be pointed at. I rest my case.
Okay. He who is, you got to show your face first. I can't let you on because I don't want to get porn bombed. I just need you to let me see that it is you. Okay, cool. All right. You could cut it back off now. If you want to, you cut it off. All right, hon. Okay. So here's where I disagree. And maybe I misunderstand you, Smoke. I think that, and I strongly know this to be true. Now, the Commissioner of Ontario is a position appointed by the President of the United States. I get that. The problem is the commissioner created a policy where he gave the Indians English surnames. Okay? Yeah. That's a violation of, it's unconstitutional. It's wrong. You can't do that. That's a violation. It's not that we didn't have names. So who are you to change who I am?
Now I'm not arguing whether or not he was right.
Now what I'm saying is he stepped above his authority, Smoke, because the reasoning that he gave that he changed the name was some of them were too long and uncumbersome. That's not my problem. I think Heckowitz is long. All these other damn names is long as hell too. Heckowitz, Baropowitz, all these crazy ass all these crazy ass names. Why aren't their names changed? You can't just come in a country and change an indigenous person's name. That's a violation. And what harm did it cause? It caused a whole society that's over here to believe that the reason why we have these last names is because our white masters gave them to us and beat us. That's harm, because that didn't happen to me or my ancestors. Their land was taken from them, but they weren't beat and whipped. So this whole history that they're teaching is that we as brown people got these names from our white master and they beat us. What say you to that? Is that not harm? Is that a violation of civil rights to take away my identity? I relinquish.
Yes, definitely. I concur with your sentiment. But what we dealing with something, but right now we're dealing with something that goes beyond sentiment. We're talking about policies, rules, regulations, procedures, and protocols, right? And for those particular principles, you have codes that are either enforced or not enforced, but there are still codes nonetheless, and those are all predicated upon agreements, right?
Okay.
So if you are initiating any steps concerning these particular agreements, then you're not dealing with a single individual anymore, because it takes more than one individual to reach an agreement. You see what I'm saying? Now, if this particular individual was granted some authority and he used that authority to implement anything with that authority, then you can no longer say he overstepped his boundaries. What you would have to do, you would have to consult with the people who also reached that agreement. Now, I'm not saying that the people reached that agreement, but I don't hear, or I don't see any evidence that they did disagree. That's where it becomes problematic for me, right, with these last names and these surnames. Is there a history of disagreement?
Okay. So my answer to that would be, we were prisoners of war. What rights do you have being a prisoner of war? Do any prisoners have rights? Those specific rights. When you're a prisoner of war, you have no rights.
Okay, well, see, this word, it also gets problematic when we bring up the issue of rights. Because I am of the understanding that the instance that you exit your mother's womb, you have all the rights that are necessary for you to express your being, right? That's my understanding of rights. I don't think any agreement that's reached between anybody else besides the person who actually have those rights get to say anything about your rights. Now, we do know rights and freedoms comes with a responsibility. And if you are
you got to show your face.
And if you are negligent on that responsibility, then this is where accountability comes into play. But as far as the right, you're automatically granted the right because that's nature. Nature allows you the rights, and they can't be given or taken away. So that's why when rights are introduced into the scenario, it gets complicated when you're dealing with policies and procedures because all those are based on agreements, and we all have the right to agree or to disagree. So what I'm saying, without that history of a disagreement, then we can only conclude that the people agreed to it, even if it was under the auspices of being a prisoner of war, because even prisoners have rights. I relinquish the flow.
Unfortunately, they don't have rights. Number two is a 12, 13, 14-year-old child of sound mind to make such a decision or understand. Do they even understand if they only had church education and third grade education? Are they of sound mind to make those corrections? Are they of sound mind to relinquish themselves so that they can be, or are they stuck in a system as a prisoner of war?
See, now what we would have to establish, is during those times, what were the policies concerning age groups? Like, what were the policies in those times when these names were being were being given? I don't have all that. I don't have all that information.
Well, I do. It's on the back of the instructions of the Commissioner of Ontario census sheets. Okay.
Oh,
they did the Commissioner of Ontario overstep Vignacy. I need to see your face. I can't let you on my panel because I don't want to get porn bob. If you can show your face real quickly, I can let you up. Other than that, I can't let you up. I need to see you right now, who you are. Nobody else could see you but me. Other than that, I can't let you on my panel unless I see your face. So until you cut your camera on and I can see you back there, then I can let you up, but I can't let you up. Okay, so Smoke, as I was saying, did the Commissioner of Ontario overstep his authority when he ordered the census takers to give people English names and to mark their race on the census sheet based on observations? And not
I would still have to say no if there wasn't a disagreement, right? I mean, I see it like this. I can only use logic to determine my conclusion. If someone was pressuring me to do something and I was in objection and they did it anyway, there would be an account of me objecting to it. Then you can certainly say that there was a wrong done because you have an individual who is objecting to this instance being imposed upon him. What we don't have is a history of an objection. We need that history of objection to say that he overstepped his boundaries. See, what we're doing now is we're trying to go back and retrospectively using sentiment to clarify whether or not he overstepped his boundaries. And there should have been a record of someone objecting to him overstepping his boundaries if he did so indeed. So it just leaves me with only one conclusion to say, well, maybe he didn't overstep his boundaries. Maybe he had that type of authority. Maybe he had that type of authority.
Well, based on the census sheets that we see, okay, the families didn't get to see the census sheets when he was writing down. He misspelled names, okay? So I'm sure if the people knew that he misspelled names, that they would have corrected. No, it's not spelled like that. I don't think they were given that option. They couldn't have been because the names are misspelled. Then they put B all the way down. So obviously they didn't see it because they probably would have corrected. Who knows?
Okay. Well, then that would implicate not only who is this guy we're talking about again?
We're talking about the census taker going around doing the census, handwritten. You're writing down the names of the people in the house as they tell you what their name is, and he's spelling it to the best of his ability. No one is spelling it for him. All right, so that's where you get all the errors on the census sheet, because they're spelling it based on what they hear. And then when it comes to racial classification, you put B in there. How do you know all these people in this house are blacks? Are they not, or are they Indians that do not live on the reservations? So everything was based on their observations, and that is a violation of one's right. You went around and you classified people based on their observations. Hello?
Yeah, I get that. I get that point.
Rob, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
certainly
there's the thousands of census sheets with misspelled last names, okay, and the wrong year of people's birth. If somebody tell you how old they are, and you're putting the wrong ages, and how do you know someone is? Who told you to mark them as black?
Right. If I may interject, can y'all hear me?
Oh, absolutely. Go right ahead.
I humbly bow before you. Salute to Smoke. But yeah, they
Smoke.
overstepped their boundaries.
Hey, he who is, could you hold it 1 second? Smoke,
Yes,
could you
ma'am.
hold it down for me while I just run to the ladies' room? Smoke.
Okay, me and he will finna chop it up real quick. Go ahead,
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Smoke. I was just saying, old boy did overstep his boundaries because he's not Perrin's matriarch. He's not the father of the nation. The Attorney General is the father of the nation. And he's the one who we all were signed over to via the birth certificate when our parents was under distress, and they signed up under informant and signed us over to the state, making us wards of the state. But that don't have nothing to do with our surname. Our surnames go back. The name Jefferson go back to 927 BC. Jefferson, Williams, all these names, that's us. They knew who they was coming for when they came over here, man. That's why they always talk about the British came over here and conquered. But who did they conquer? They conquered the English, which was us. Yes, we were tribes. Yes, we spoke many languages, but all our language was English based. We are the true English people, and the whole world knows it. You understand me? That's why we can say bling bling, and they have to put it in the dictionary in 2 years. We can say any word to add on to our original language, and they're gonna have to put it in their dictionary. See, we became citizens once we got signed over like I said, with our parents being under distress and not knowing what they was going through, signing that birth certificate, signing us over to become a citizen, which made us wards of the state, was why the municipality, the police powers can do whatever they want to do with us.
Okay, well, hold on. Let's back it up and get back to the initial question, right? These surnames. This what this whole exchange is currently based on.
Yes, sir.
Hold on, hold on. I got a question in the background. My bad. Hey, these surnames, right? Because if it's being asserted that these surnames came with the Europeans or with the religious ideologies, and the people who were receiving these names are not in agreement with receiving these names, that's where it gets problematic. But if you suggesting that these names came before that the arrival of the Europeans, then that's a whole different issue. So we would have to say that there was an agreement with these names, right? If we saying they came before the Europeans. So yeah, that'll have to be sorted out, right? That'll have to be sorted out eventually before we can come to a determination on whether or not this particular individual or this organization overstepped their authority.
Ain't nobody beat our names into us like Kunta Kinte. We had these last names, these surnames. That's our hereditaments. That's our heritage. That's our lineage back to the land. And they know that. But they got us thinking that the European gave us our surname. We had surnames, like I said, since 927 BC. The Kingdom of England then fall to 1707. Up until then,
I have no available information to either confirm nor deny, but the logic would suggest. All I'm saying is that the logic would suggest that if we was in disagreement with the names, that there would exist some type of record of a disagreement with the name. And that's one thing I have yet to see being presented.
Right. See
me myself, I like my name. Right, my mom and my dad gave me these names, so I'm not in objection to the damn name. Somebody called me though. Hold on.
For sure.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry. So what y'all got? Peace, everybody in the chat room. Smash the like button. I'm sorry, I had to step away to the ladies' room.
Yes, ma'am. I was just simply saying that didn't no European give us our names. Our surnames go way back. We been had them. Like I say, whenever they say the British came and invaded, they never say who they invaded. But they invaded the English, which was here, us. They say the red coats, the blue coats.
Do you have any proof of us being the English?
Yes. I know
Where
we
is
are.
the proof? Where is the proof?
Everybody else learned English to come here.
I'm saying, do you have any proof of us being English?
Yeah, your surname.
Okay. So then, if we're English, how can we be the original Americans?
Because we are. America became England. English, not England. English was here before England, America, and all of that.
What proof do you have?
It's out here. I mean, research.
Where's the proof? I just want to see something that states that we are the English.
Your surname tell you are. If you look up your surname,
Okay, but
you
the
know what
instructions,
who gave you your
there's a
surname?
problem.
Your parents, grandparents had that same surname.
Okay, that's first of all, then you can't say that you're an Aboriginal or Indian because they didn't have surnames.
We are Aboriginals. We are the original.
We didn't have surnames. We didn't have
We are-
surnames. That doesn't make any sense. He who is, we as a people did not have surnames. As Aboriginals to North America, we didn't have surnames.
I just said, if you look up the name Jefferson.
I'm just saying, can you prove to me that the Aboriginals had surnames? Because if we had surnames, there would be no reason for the Commissioner of Ontario to give them to us.
They gave them names to the Indians that went to the Indian schools. That was not us. We didn't go to Indian schools.
I have to disagree with you. Then, okay. At a time that we received these English surnames, were we in power or were we not in power? As Aboriginals. As Aboriginals. Okay. What year did the Commissioner of the Department of Interior give these surnames to our people?
He didn't give it to us. He gave it to the Siberians.
That can't be true. We didn't have surnames, sir. We didn't have surnames.
We had surnames since, like I said, 927 BC. We had surnames here in America.
Where is the proof of that? I see no proof anywhere where it says that the Aboriginals had surnames. Can you show me or provide me with proof that the Aboriginals to the Americas, okay, had surnames?
We always had surnames, Mr. Beck.
But you're just saying that out your mouth. You're not showing me nothing. When I show something, I show proof. And I can literally,
I can't really pull
you need to prove that in order to be saying it, because then people are going to believe what's coming out your mouth instead of believing documental proof, some type of proof other than it just coming out your mouth. And I'm not trying to be a bitch. I'm just saying it's coming out your mouth. I'm not seeing anything that states that we had surnames. Indians didn't have surnames, not Aboriginals. We didn't have surnames. Hey, True. Can you step to the panel and let me know if we Aboriginals had surnames? I'm glad you stepped in, because from what I'm seeing at the time that we were given those names is on the instructions of the first census. And that was in 1790. The instructions.
$1790 was the first.
Prior to 1790, we were who we were. And in 1790, yes.
And when they came door to door, we told them who we were.
No, we didn't. No, we did not tell them who we were. They gave us surnames.
Man, you think everybody you truly think that a foreigner to our land came knocking door to door on our land that we had already established for centuries?
We were given surnames in church. Wait a minute. We were given surnames in church and school and by the census takers.
Church. That's the first
church,
word, right?
School, and church and school. We were going to churches before we were even citizens. We weren't even citizens back then. We got these surnames in church.
Yes, exactly. You had to register your name with the church.
No, you had to convert or die. And they gave you surnames during the baptism. Do you understand that? All right, Truth. I have that in writing. I just want to see your proof. Is all I'm saying. What say you,
I get it
Truth?
together, Sister Beth. Much respect. I get it together.
Now I'm just saying. I'm reading where our names came from, and it's literally in writing that our churches recorded our name, and during the baptism ceremony we received a English Bible name. That's written, and that's when we had to convert or die, and we got them in school.
We had churches way and cathedrals way before they even landed here. We was already doing the church thing, but our church wasn't about no Jesus and no abstract thing. Our churches was about teaching law, morals, values, life, and land. That's what our church.
I've never heard of that. I've never heard of us having a church. I've always heard we did natural things. We connected with the earth and spirituality. I've never heard my people, and prior to the takeover of our landmass, was going to churches. I've never heard of that. I've always heard, from what I know, is that we practice natural things, spirituality of the land.
Which we still do. We still do.
No, not what I see in these churches today. But Truth,
no,
could you explain if you have any knowledge of us having churches, big churches and stuff like this prior to takeover?
Hey, what's up, Sister Betty? I want even, you know, if you want to ask, I wouldn't even jump up. I was trying to stay in the chat. What's up, man? Like now, like we did have places that we consider like high energy spot locations where we did, you know, our own worship, not
battery level low.
Not similar to what you see now. And a lot of these places that you see these big churches on now was actually those locations where they knocked them down. I like to say more like temples, you know, where, you know, what we would modern word used for it is like priesthood of whatever nation you come from, you know, will frequent, the people frequent to give offering, go do prayer. Not in the sense of this modern understanding of worship and prayer though, but a lot of those places was destroyed and cathedrals was built on top of it because of the type of energy that we was given from those locations and things like that. But even some of the stories that like the Bible was stolen from some of our spiritual teachings and shit, like, you know, Quetzalcoatl, that could be considered Jesus Christ. The people of Tennessee and Kentucky had a story similar to that as well too. You know, they Cherokee now, but they had a similar, but not all Cherokees had that same spiritual concept story. But they had one as well too, and that was like the people in Tennessee and Kentucky like that. So we did have places of like worship that we revered with high regard, but it's not on the level of what we see people going to church at today. And the cathedrals built on them was done deliberately to harness the energy from those locations.
You have a noise.
No, that's not me. That's him.
No, that's not you. That's him.
But yeah, as far as surnames,
yes.
Yeah, as far as that go, I ain't gonna lie, that's a tricky one. You know, I'm gonna be real with you. That's because when I started thinking about it, some aspect of me say no. But then when I do a further deep dive into understanding, some aspect of me say it's a possibility. You know, like your surname would be kind of like the, you know, your tribe, your nation you come from. I feel like everybody will have that. But honestly, I really don't know. You know, I'll be honest. I don't know. It's kind of it's kind of tricky when you start digging in trying to see about it. And then also, you know, we understand certain aspects of this colonizer as well too. Like some of these stories that they give out turn out to be falsehoods. And so I just kind of I just have to be honest. That's not a question that I can answer like definite 100%. You know, because I can lean towards either way. But you know, we had instance where like, you know, a person might be Jack. Did he have a son? Oh, that's Jack's son. That's John's son. You know, I don't, you know, seen things where like those type of names came from that way. But then again, you really just don't know because the paperwork has been so mixed up and revised and destroyed that it's kind of really hard to say either way with a definite like that. Sorry, I ain't got a definite answer for that, Sister Beth.
That's okay.
But you know, I'm honest though. I ain't gonna, you know, I'm not gonna lie to you though. You know, but it's been instances where you know I'm reading literature where they didn't have no last name. Then there's literature that I read where they had a last name. So it just was so much mixed up in it, and then you know we didn't really deal with paperwork like that either.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you, all right, an example, a prime example of these surnames given to us. Where is it? Let me see. I'm gonna pull it up in a minute. Oh, I went too far up. There. Oh no, did I take it down? Let me see. Did I take it down? Hang on 1 second. Oh, here we go. All right. This is King Philip.
Metcalm. Yeah.
Metacom. All right. In 1638, he lived to 1676. And he was also known as Pometacom Metacom. And by his adopted English name, King Philip. All right. That right there kills everything that you said. He who is. He took an adopted English name, but he had an Indian name. All right. And his Indian name was Sikhem. There is no last name for Sikhem, is the point I'm trying to prove. He doesn't have a surname. His name was Sikhem. That was it. It wasn't Sikhem Jones or Sikhem Jackson or Sikhem nothing. This dude took a whole English first name and surname. His English name, King, okay? He was a chief of his nation, all right? But they gave him the name King Philip. So what have you say for that? What are your thoughts on that? He who is, and that's in the 1600s. You said that we went to church and we already had those names. Well, Brother Manza was a chief and he adopted an English name
because he was English.
Okay.
He was English.
I land my plane. How are you going to adopt a name, all right, and you already have an Indian name, and then turn around and adopt an English name? You're Indian. So he are you saying an Indian and an English is one and the same? Is that you're saying an Indian and an English man is one and the same? That's not possible. If you're running around here, that's not possible. There's no way. There's no way they're one and the same. No. He adopted something outside of what he was. He adopted a first and last name of something he wasn't. You don't adopt. Why would you adopt something outside of who you are? Does that make any sense to you, Truth? Or I mean, what are your thoughts, Truth, on that?
Yeah, I don't think that was the name that he was given, King Philip. Because why would his people be calling him the other name and the foreigners call it? It's kind of hard to talk with that.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't make any sense. They're saying he adopted that name. Why, if you already have a name, why would you adopt one? I don't understand. It sounds to me like a English man and that particular Indian is two different people. If he was English, why didn't he just have an English name? Point blank, and not have to adopt a name. Can you answer that? He who is?
Because we was here already.
Okay.
For one.
Dabama, what are your thoughts?
Well, I just wanted to make a point about the churches because what they've turned the church into today is not what we used it for. We were using it to create frequencies and sounds to heal, meditate, manifest. We were using it for the good of everybody. So I just wanted to clear that up because we weren't worshiping any deities in the church. We were the deities.
I can honestly believe that because it's natural. I mean, why would you worship? Why would natural people worship something or something that they've never saw before? It just wasn't us. When the Bible came here, we were told to worship a being that we've never saw, but just read about in a book that was transcribed.
Battery level low.
And you got to keep your mic muted, Hugh, as you got a bad noise. So the bomb, I can honestly agree with you 100% because that makes more sense. What are your thoughts, the bomb, on this king right here? Let me pull him back up. It makes no sense. If we're in the 1600s, all right, he's a chief of his tribe, and he was elected chief to the Wampanoag people. Okay, and he was the son of Massasoit. Why would he adopt an English name?
I don't think he would have. I think certain things that they were forced to do to survive.
I have to agree. I mean, he adopted it. They were a fierce people. King Philip was a very dangerous man. And I don't think that he was pressured to take that name. It's something that they said he adopted.
Or it's a narrative they're giving us because he ain't here to defend himself.
Correct. Facts.
When you use terms like adopted, and I ain't saying that this is an accurate depiction of the historical account, but when you use terms like adopted, it tends to lend credence to the possibility of an agreement. Now you can't have an agreement and a force at the same time. One of those are not compatible ideologies. So it's either an agreement or it's something that was forced on us. I don't like going with the force thing because it gives more validity to that we out of Africa shit and motherfuckers just came over kicking our ass, making us do whatever the hell they wanted us to do. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why I don't lean toward that. I don't lean toward that we didn't have a choice shit. I don't believe that. Mm-hmm. I'm saying maybe it was something they was offering niggas that compelled them to want to agree with accepting or adopting English names.
But Smoke, when your children being taken away from your parents and they're telling you this is what your name is, and anytime you don't say that name, you get in trouble, you're going to start saying that name and you're going to teach your children to do the same.
And most slaves was
Okay,
children,
then again,
adults.
there we go with we was forced shit again. You see what I'm saying? Is we the gods or we just the
I'm saying
children?
it's different.
We the gods or we children of a lesser god?
Adults
I
and
don't get it.
children.
Because it's like I can't see nobody coming up in my house today telling my kids, you no longer what your daddy said, what the hell you is. No, the whole house gonna be fighting around that motherfucker. Kids too. You feel me?
And I agree. But how many homes do they walk in and the police take the children and place them in the CPS and they don't fight back? And where did these children end up?
Right. And I don't think that was happening to whole nations though. It might happen to a few isolated incidents here and there.
They going over a little bit at a time.
Right. That's what I'm saying. One at a time. So I don't think they could have changed who the hell we is one at a damn time. It's just too many of us for that to transpire so quickly. That's why I'm leaning towards an agreement. I'm leaning towards an agreement. I'm under the impression, and I can't prove this. But it coincides with my logic. I'm just under the impression that niggas was offered something that compelled them to reach this agreement. That's all I can say for it right now. Because I don't believe I can credit willing to accept no name. Go ahead.
To your credit, and I'll let you have it right after this, Truth. To your credit, I do have writings where superintendents and census takers did communicate with our ancestors and gave them names based on their trade or what they did. Like if your family was really good at baking, that's how you got the name Baker. So
blacksmith.
So to your credit, I do. Yeah, to your credit, I do agree with you there that there was a lot of accepting of those last names, but a lot of that I can tell you took place after the convert and die thing. After the convert and die,
Right.
where are people that did agree to work with the colonizers or be part of the states. That's when we started getting those last names because we were people that agreed to them. But I can't agree with he who is that we already had him. No.
This the thing that we leaving out right here that's most important that kind of like, a lot of people don't pay attention to. Is this right here. I'm going to just use one tribe, for instance, the Chickahominy tribe, right? They had an agreement with these people that they was going to do apprenticeship with their kids as part of like, whatever type of agreements and shit they had going on, right? What was happening though was that these indigenous sisters and brothers was dropping their kids off to these people and they were selling their kids into slavery. And then when they come back from their kids, they give them the stories like they ran away or some motherfuckers came in and stole their kids type shit. And when you just think like, okay, well, this happened to them, how many other tribes had some type of similar agreements and shit with these motherfuckers in other places? On top of that, most workers, want to the labor force, what do you want to call it, slavery, indenture, whatever. But a lot of time we think of grown folks, but the highest percentage of this workforce was kids. And a lot of people don't pay attention to that shit. So it's like, who's to say that was the only tribe that had some type of agreement with them like that? And now, where are their kids at? And who are the adult version of these kids now? What have they been brainwashed to think? What have they been brainwashed to talk? Their parents told them to listen to them when they dropped them off type shit. And then one like they did it forcefully. Motherfuckers willingly did it, thinking that, it was something good. and it turned out to be some trickery shit behind it.
Being misled. Absolutely.
Yeah. So like even with what Smoke's saying right now, you know, about he find it hard to believe motherfuckers just kicking dope. Like, yeah, I understand what Smoke's saying too, because I find that shit kind of hard to believe too. Is war. Now, has some situations like that did transpire off war? Yeah, we can find those. But I think a lot of the stuff happened through trickery. Period. And these kids are now being raised and taught whatever the fuck they want to teach them and shit. It's like, you know, right?
Well, one thing I can say for sure, were we not able to find any clarity because the stories have been so convoluted, I'm just in favor of us filling in the blanks. You feel me? Just fill them motherfuckers in however we want to. But we don't have to concede to the narrative, especially where it don't make no damn sense. I'm gonna relinquish the floor right now.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that, Smoke? I didn't really
Okay, basically what I'm saying, if we're going by the historical account, which is for the most part full of missing pieces, and that goes for just about any of the accounts, from George Washington to the Pilgrims landing on Plymouth Rock, to the Trail of Tears, to the Civil War. There's no clarity in any of this history, bro. I'm talking about it's at the point that it could be either way, and we don't know because we actually wasn't there. But it did affect us as a people group. So I'm saying if we are the affected group, we ought to be able to exercise the authority to clarify the story, even if we just have to fill in the goddamn blanks. That's all I'm saying.
I have to agree, because it seems like, just like you said, okay, history took place, a history of a negative history took place. And when you have when there's war, definitely when there's war, there are certainly after effects. And I see us as a people suffering from those after effects based on the things that we could and were and were not able to do. I mean, this is a corporation that was established, okay? This corporation seems to have a land that was not theirs, because obviously the folks running this government are not from here. All right. There's a people that's treated differently, and there's a people that simply used to have things and acquired names as it's instructed on the Commissioner of Interior's instructions. Okay. We have given names. So it's like everything that has happened, we seem to fit the profile. Your thoughts?
That's, it's kind of deep. I have to meditate on that. But even when it comes to the documented records, and I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of those are misleading too. And some of them that are more accurate are written in a language that's very hard to understand.
What records are we talking about? Could you give me an example of a specific record?
We can go with the Constitution. It's written in a language that's hard to understand. It's not in layman's language. You got to be an astute scholar to really understand what the hell that particular document saying in all instances. Then they added amendments to it. Some of them been ratified, some of them haven't been ratified. Like what's really going on? Why amended and not ratified? It's just a whole lot of like True said, trickery involved. And I think a lot of that was done retrospectively too. I don't think it was done right in the nigga face. I land right there.
So the Constitution that you're talking about now, that we are living under, the most, I think the last one was 1876 or 1786, if I'm not mistaken. Are you saying that Constitution is hard to read?
I'm not only is it hard to read, it's hard to understand. And just by you having to admit that was the last one, what happened to the first one? It wasn't good enough. You see what I'm saying? It's everything about it is convoluted. That's why I be like, the hell with the Constitution, right? Because if the first one didn't stand, why should the last one stand? I think niggas ought to be writing up their own damn Constitution right now. And the hell with what anybody else got to say about it. If we trying to follow a line of logic that's being administered by foreigners, I don't see what type of chance we're gonna stand and really getting any prominence back. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. It just seemed logical to me. But go ahead.
Well, I do know that the first Constitution, and it was when we had the Continental Congress and our Constitution, we did have one. And
are you talking about the articles? Are you talking about the Articles of Confederation, the Great Law of Peace? See how all of it gets convoluted. Is it the Magna Carta? Like what's really going on? Like nothing can be said with absolute sureness. But go ahead.
No, I get it, and I completely understand your frustration and everything. But from what I researched, Smoke, the Constitution that we had, we were actually running the country. It was our Constitution. And they revised it twice from what we had. That's what I'm seeing when I read the Constitution. Now, there was a time when we had our own separate Constitution and spoke with the colonizers. And these are the air quotes doing this. Told them to build the 13 colonies. That's why he tied the 3 sticks. Tied that rope around the 13 sticks. They told them to make a government. We already had a government. And he told these colonists to make your government, and which they did. And then communications between the Iroquois, and this is just what I've been reading. From what I've been reading, it seems to me that they came into our they came literally came into these colonists, joined our Constitution.
Facts.
Which explains how they were able to have control over the entire fucking land. I don't believe all these stories that, oh, we're giving you this, we're giving you this land, we're giving you that land. I think that they came into our Constitution and got our people against each other. It was a serious division. And then took over it from there. Because I can't see a bunch of chiefs just ceding their lands givenly. I can't see that. And this is the story that really is so troublesome to me. I'm like, from what I'm reading, I think they came into our corporation. And it wasn't that a whole lot of them. And then when they did come in, they give you the story that dude went over to the colonists and had this meeting. I showed this the other day when he tied the rope around the 3 colonies, the 3 sticks. He said those represented the third. I don't believe that shit. I believe they literally came into our our government and took it over.
Facts.
Because our government ran so well. We didn't have these issues. Now we had wars. We did. But everything was running smoothly, and they came in our government. This is what I think. Because then it explains why they turned around and redesigned the damn Capitol. It's still in the same place from when we had it. That's not something they built from the ground and it became their government. You know what I'm saying? I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing them taking over like the White House in Washington. That was ours, and they redesigned it to their liking. They just wasn't here, didn't have it to build the shit like we did. So I relinquish. I don't know. What are your thoughts? What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, yeah, it's some validity. It is some validity to that whole synopsis you just relayed, but I'm not saying but to cancel anything out you said. I'm just saying this to be matter of factly. I do understand that we had our own operating system here, and I do understand that it had to be better than what the hell they had going on, or they never would have came over here trying to get down with it. Right? Because it don't make sense that if you got something better than me, why in the hell you finna come to where I am and then try to settle? Because we do understand they came as settlers. That's the clean version. They came as settlers, but we know they came as vagabonds, thieves,
and paupers.
Right. And paupers and whatever the Statue of Liberty is, say on it. Give us your tired, humble man, all that goofy shit, right? But I'm just saying, we do understand that they did come over here in need of some type of assistance. So we had to have something going on better than what the hell they had going on, right? Because they couldn't handle their own people, so they had to send a lot of them over here seeking some type of better life or opportunities or whatever it is that they were seeking, that they had to come over here and get that accomplished. So yeah, I could agree that we did have a system that was operating and functioning rather well to a point that everybody wanted a piece of it.
Facts.
That's what I'm seeing from my readings. That we already had a functioning and they came in ours because it wasn't enough of them over here to establish the type of government that we had. I mean, we're talking from what history is telling us, they only had 13 colonies, okay? And we have to keep in our minds that those colonies weren't whole states. They were pieces of land in each of the 13 states that we have. And because and then it also, you got to really explain the fact that we literally had governors who looked like us in the 1700s down here in Connecticut.
Facts.
All the way up to Mass. So the story is just truly not making any sense. So and the fact that the governor that looks like us, they're literally running their states. How would they know how if these are dumbfounded people and they're supposed to be slaves and dumb? How are you going to be a mediator between two opposing people, black people and white people? That's why the governor was the mediator to keep the peace between the black and the white people. So how are you, a dumb slave, going to handle that? So this is why I said their story doesn't make any sense. You need to hire a Negro to keep the peace between the white people and the black people.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. So the whole thing really makes me believe that it was our system. They came in, and when they were able to grow their people over here, because they started coming in by the loads in the 1800s, the late 1800s, until they were able to successfully take over the government. I mean, it took time for
Rome wasn't
them to
Rome
get that
wasn't
amount of people. And at the same
Rome wasn't
time,
built in a day.
right, at the same time, it took them so long. It was a gradual process of them getting the different people from their countries over here. And I'm talking places like Dutch, Netherlands, all the European countries. It took a while. And at the same time, turning our people against each other. So now you have this serious issue with the northern Indians versus the southern ones. So, I mean, and then you have to explain the fact that Andrew Jackson was able to successfully march in the War of 1812 to the South, and he had a bunch of niggas with him. So there's a lot of it that's not making sense that I'm still trying to piece together. So just have to keep brainstorming.
Yeah, it's deep, Sister Bethy. We gotta go way down through there because like you say, Andrew Jackson had a lot of Negroes
Yeah, he came from the
with
north
him.
to the South in
Yeah.
1812.
Yes.
So, I mean, that make sense. And he was not a purely white man. Andrew Jackson was mulatto, and that was very clear.
Yeah.
So that's why he was able to march with so many niggas down from the north. Because in the north, we have a lot of mulattoes here. We do. We have a lot of mulattoes here. And that's why, here in the north, a lot of our families in the north, we all, we're just heavily loaded with mulattoes, whether we're half Jewish, half Indian, half whatever, European and us. And so that's why it was so easy for Andrew Jackson to get these praying Indians, as they call them, from the north to march to the south with them. So, I mean, I don't know, Smoke. We just got a lot to learn. And these are just conversations that we as a people, I don't know how it was in the South. I grew up in the North. We didn't have these type of teachings in our history in school.
Facts.
So we're late bloomers in dissecting this. And at this point, I think all of us are really doing a great job together dialoguing about it.
Indeed. It's a beautiful job that we're doing right now because we gotta turn over every stone.
Yeah.
Because we really don't know, because they done messed us over so long for so many years. Like you said, Sister Bethy, we are prisoners of war. We've been invaded. We've been invaded by a British/Roman colony, and they came over here, created 13 colonies. Then they turned them to states, which they really messed up doing that. Because once they turned them into states, it's a wrap. But once we get on the level of knowing who we are, what we are, we can shut them down. We can shut them down because they invaded us. And like I say, I'm not saying, yes, we are Indians. Yes, we are. We truly are the aboriginals of this land. But when I say we are English, don't get it twisted with being England. Like I said, we all speak English. We speak it clearly. Can't nobody speak English better than us. The British speak British English. Jamaicans speak Jamaican English. We the only people in this world that speak English. But nobody in this world claim English on the census chart. You don't have a box to mark for English. But why the fuck do everybody speak English and we all under English law? Because our stuff still stands strong today. And once we wake up and realize who we are. Like I said, yes, we are Indian. Yes, we are Aboriginal.
They do
We
have
don't-
a check mark on the census sheets. It asks for native tongue. Can you read and write? It does ask you that. Can you read
No,
and write?
I said English. England. English. It's no box to check for an English person because that's us. And they will not
Well, by
dare.
1790, I mean that it was clearly understood. It's just like AEIOU. Sometimes Y is understood. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because they took it out.
So,
They
I
took it
mean-
out of. They took it out. They took it out because they didn't want us to know who we truly are. We are not Europeans.
We know that.
We was over here speaking English way before they came.
I get that.
All our dialect and we were speaking English way before they came. Trust me.
Well, we were speaking a lot of different languages from what I can understand, and I mean, I'll let you keep dialoguing. I'm gonna write something. And,
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm gonna write something. But you go ahead and keep going while I'm writing something.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, because they came over here and put it like this. It's easier for a person or for a people to come into your territory and learn your language instead of trying to teach you a language. Does that make sense? It'll be way more harder for people to come to your land and try to teach everybody in this land that already been here a language. No, they came over here and learned our language and then they turned it into Latin. Hence a cursive writing, etc. Like Big Brother Smoke was just saying. It's hard to read the Constitution because it was written in cursive. Our children today is not being taught a cursive. I land right there, but it's the game is.
It ain't just the cursive that concerns me. It's the codified language that they placed in there, because it ushers in confusion when it just could have been written plain and simple.
Right. Right.
You know, it could have been written. I mean, there was nothing preventing them from making it plain and simple. But by you having to implement a codified language, right, with words meaning different things than what they would mean in layman terms, that gives you the inclination that it was codified, right?
Facts.
So it just seems to me that they did that on purpose.
See, when they
to keep you from understanding exactly what they was getting at when they was writing it. Like they were just writing it for a select few individuals to really be able to comprehend what it was really trying to say.
See the Latin made it spells. The Latin made our English language spells. Because when they came with the Latin, they came with different meanings for one word, but it had 5 different spellings. Like mine, mines, mine. You know, we can go on and on. We didn't speak like that. That's that Latin that was added on to our language, our original language, English. Not England, English. C S-E-E-E. C S-E-A. Why? That don't happen in no other culture but ours. Where one word is pronounced the same, spelled differently, and have different meanings. That's a spell. We was invaded. We are still prisoners of war. That's why the POW flag is black with an image of a white person on it. The whole world know that they conquered the English people, but they got us thinking we everything else is besides who we are. And when I say that, yes, we were and still is Indian, Aboriginal. We the original of this land. But it's so far fetched for us to think that we were the original English people.
Okay, so when I was little, my grandfather and them spoke and taught us. And we speak this now. I swear, if I get my sister on the panel, we can speak and understand each other in this language right here. Do you know what that says?
Nope. I have no idea. Never seen it.
It's called Pig Latin.
I know about Pig Latin. Okay, now okay. There we
so
go.
Speak it. Can you speak that? Can you tell what that says? Do you know what that says?
No, I don't, Queen.
I'm gonna say it, and then I'm gonna tell you what it says.
Okay, say it. If you say it, I probably know
say
it. I probably know what it says.
Say it, Queen.
Say it.
You can take a pocket. You can take a sticky.
I know you said it, but what do it mean? Like I said, we used to speak Pig Latin when I was young.
Latin. Can you tell what I just said?
I
Can
don't
you tell
know.
what I just said, Smoke?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna say it slow. Okay, you can stick it. Okay, you can stick it. Okay, back. Okay. You don't know what that says?
No.
That says the judicial power of the United States of America. That's exactly what that says.
Okay.
I just sounded out from when I was little, but literally, I can pick it. Choctaw said you speak it daily. I can speak it. That says the judicial power of the United States of America.
That's dope.
Okay, you can stick it. Okay, pocket.
That meant that you know you messed me up. You messed me up, Sister Bestie, because I never seen Pig Latin. I never seen Pig Latin text or written.
And if you look this up, if you Google it, it will tell you that this is what we spoke as little kids, Indians.
Yeah, I used to do it when I
Pig Latin.
Yeah. I never spelt it. And that's crazy because you was able to spell it. That's dope. That's dope.
Let me see. It was called Hog Latin.
What you say? Latin,
no one
right?
really knows who invented Pig Latin. It's been a part of popular culture since the late 1800s.
Right,
but
Latin.
We used to speak this, and they hated it.
Latin.
But literally, I was trying to look it up. But as little kids, we spoke that.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody could understood what we were saying.
Facts.
And the trick of it is all you're doing is adding a K at the end of every word. Literally. That says the. The is the. Juka. And you gotta, when there's words that have more than one syllable, you have to break it down with the K at the end of the syllable.
Mm. Yeah, we used to speak it.
And that's a fact.
We used
When
to
it's
speak
more
it.
than one vowel sound, you have to break the vowel sound down with the K. If it's just one straight word, one syllable word, you just add the K at the end. The K-A at the end. Facts.
So can I ask a question, Sister Betty?
And that's a fact, huh?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Were we speaking English before the Pig Latin? Because
Well, see,
I
that's the whole
recall.
thing.
Yeah, right.
I'm learning this from Chief, and he's saying we did, and he just didn't elaborate enough for me, and I really want to know. I'm still
Right.
studying. I
Because
don't know everything. I'm studying just like you and everybody else.
yes, ma'am.
You know,
It's
and
it's it's crazy. It's crazy because I recall speaking Pig Latin, but it was like it came from out of nowhere in like 1975. I was like 5, 6 years old, and when I started hearing it, I jumped on it real quick, and I started learning it. But like I say, for you to type it out today, I have no idea what that means. You understand me? But to me, myself, I think we were speaking English way before Latin because English was here before Latin, and they'll say that Latin came before English, but that's not true. And like you say, and then to put a pig before it, Pig Latin. But I recall speaking Pig Latin, and we used to get away with a lot of shit. Excuse my language, but a lot of stuff with Pig Latin speaking or language.
so I don't know. We all have a lot to learn, but I
Yes,
do know
ma'am.
enough about our history to know that that these government has or have overstepped their authority.
Oh, they
We
do.
have way more than enough evidence to bring actions against them, and that's a fact.
Right. That's facts. They all de facto. It's really a wrap. We just really sitting back waiting. They all
Yeah.
de facto. Everything they done has been de facto. Period.
So now, what you say, Smoke? I mean, you said you from Tennessee, though, right? A lot of people.
Nah, my mama's side from Tennessee. I was born in Texas on my daddy's side from Texas, so
Oh,
I'm
that's right. I forgot.
I'm native. I'm a native Texan,
I
but I just been up here with my mama folks for the last 30 years. So I,
know a
I would say,
lot of
yeah, I would say I'm Tennessean now because I've been gone from Texas for a long ass
yeah.
time.
Well, that's what I say about myself. My family is all from South Carolina, and I've been in Connecticut all my life in Progressive territory, and I'm very northernized culturally. I've been here 56 years, almost 57. So, I mean, I'm very northern, very northern.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, um, I don't know, how I wish I really knew a little bit more about how our ancestors operated as far as Indians leaving the South and coming to the North voluntarily, and how the Indians in the North accepted them or rejected them. A lot of them, you know what I mean? A lot of men, Indians, a lot of our Indian men from the South did leave and come to the North and marry women. So, I mean, I would really like to know more on how that worked. I mean, I know everything was territorial, but I don't believe we just rejected our brothers and sisters from the South from coming to the North and living amongst the Indians here. And same thing here. Some Indians left the North and went and mixed in with the Indians in the South. I don't think we had such tight boundaries that we couldn't move around on the lands. I would really, like know more about how we did that. Like what we do now, we can pick up and move from any state that we want. And every state we go to, we give them jurisdiction over us, of course. So I'm wondering if our system was that same way. Like if we left the South and came to Indian territory in the North, did we automatically they automatically assumed jurisdiction over us? You know what I mean?
But I don't think we was dealing with all the extracurricular activity. I'm just under the impression that we was able to move about freely as long as we held to certain basic principles, such things as minding your own business, you know what I'm saying? Things of that nature that we see that's commonly being practiced in our culture, even today, even despite all the rules, regulations, and policies that we find ourselves being held up under. Because I'm look, it's like this. Once you start dealing with foreigners, you got to start implementing other rules because they come with a whole different culture. And if that culture is detrimental to yours, then you got to start implementing rules that's going to protect you, especially if you use the people that was already here, right? You come with your culture and you doing all type of ill-begotten ass practices, then niggas gonna be like, hold on, bro. No, we don't get down like that, not on this part of the land or any other part of the land. So I'm certain, rules had to change to accommodate for foreign practices.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Because otherwise we wouldn't have all these different religious cultures all over. So, I mean, something was welcome and compromised. But what I don't understand is how did it get to the point where we weren't no longer allowed to practice ours because it was deemed ugly after practicing it from coming from out of the soil. We practice our spirituality, correct, about Mom?
Yeah, and they started making like peyote and stuff illegal, mushrooms illegal. That's where stuff that we were using to heal in the churches and stuff, different plants and herbs and stuff. They deemed everything witchcraft and made it illegal, and so nobody was able to access it, and they turned to processed drugs.
DuPont chemicals.
Yeah, and when I see stuff like this, where'd it go? When I literally see stuff like this is definitely, to be a overpowered thing because they blocked all our ports. Yes, literally, they blocked all our ports. Now, we were trading with South America. And they blocked it.
They cut it off.
Prior to their arrival, we traded with South America and the islands, and they blocked all the shit off so that we could not. That's overpowerment right there. And at the same time, they were saying convert or die.
Yes, ma'am. Can I speak real quick?
Oh, I don't
that snake, and you see the first word is Scottish. That's the house of Tudors, which became the house of Stuart, which is King James. And the first thing they speak about in their Bible, the King James Bible, is the serpent. And that's the serpent wrapped around all of our land. Cut us off from dealing with our people across our lands. That's when King James and them arrived in Virginia and went up through North Carolina, South Carolina, and created 13 colonies. That's what that picture implements to us. The serpent, that's the serpent. Ain't no serpent in the Bible. He, he was writing about how his strategic battle, how he did us. We was here already.
In that King James Bible, it does speak about the snake in the garden.
Yes, that's
So you're
the
saying it
snake.
wasn't in the Bible?
No, it's in the Bible. It's in the first book of Genesis. The serpent. But the serpent was really his strategically scheme to lock us down. Because they knew who we was. They knew we were the chosen people, the golden children.
Okay,
They
but
invaded us,
the
and
problem
they
here's the problem that I have with that. Why would you give? Okay, and I'm just thinking logically. Why
Mhm.
would you give why would you give Indians your whole platform of what they were going to do to you? Is it to make them think that? Well, why would you do that? Why would you give them your whole plan if that was the case?
because the plan was already done.
But why
They
would you
put
give
that
it to
they
them after the fact?
because it was done.
So what purpose is it serving if you're giving it to them if you already did it?
Look at us now.
Exactly. So I mean, what would be the purpose to give a group of people that you took over such a book? That's why a lot of this doesn't make
To
sense
keep
to
us
me.
down, to keep us under their spell.
Well, the
Like I
book
say, they
explains.
gave us
But
the
what I'm
book.
saying, the book explains exactly what they were planning to do to us. My question is, why would they give us their plan of what they're going to do to us? Did they
Because
make it
they
look
had
like that? Did they make it appear as though we're not the devil?
say that again. I like that question.
Okay.
Say that again.
Why would they give us a book of their plan for our life? The book literally speaks about taking Satan out of power, as does the last book of the Bible, which is Revelations. Why would they give that to the Indians if the Indians there's only one people from this soil that was taken out of power, and that's the Aborigines. So
Right.
why would they give the Aborigines their plan?
I
Oh,
I don't
go
know
ahead,
if it was the
Gabon.
plan. I was just gonna say I think they wanted to give them that book to mislead them to looking outside of themselves for something greater instead of knowing how great they were, because it kind of
Exactly.
misleads you from knowing your true self. It does. There's trickery in the words. They're really telling you that, but when they teach it to the people, they're not teaching them to use it that way. They're teaching them to wait on something else to come save them when it's us. We
Right.
got to make the changes.
Well said.
Right. But but prior to getting that book, their words of threat were convert or die. Convert to the lifestyle of this book or die. So that's where you got all these praying Indians from here in the north. The praying Indians came from out of the north. Yet the book was given in the South, obviously it reached the same book, obviously reached the South, and they began trying to get those Southern Indians to convert. Because if you look right here, the problem of Native American church membership, literally, they denied the Indian lady to be a member of the church because she told them that she's not Jesus can't get in the way of all her gods. Now, mind you, the only people standing outside this church is niggas. So obviously they're the Indians, but they denied that lady because she didn't want to fully convert. She didn't want to give up her gods for Jesus.
And I want to make a point, because before they brought in this one and only Yahweh, or whatever, there were many different gods that the Greeks and Egyptians and all these different people were worshiping, and they came in with this like, no, y'all aren't going to worship these anymore. There's only Yahweh took over. And it kind of, first of all, if he's a one and only God, why are you acknowledging other gods? None of that makes sense at all.
It doesn't. Homegrown, no, we don't think that this didn't just happen to everybody around the world. I think you're the one with the narrow mind. The reason why we're speaking of it in a single, from a single standpoint, is because we're focusing on our landmass. That's all. We're not saying it wasn't instituted around the world. We're just studying our land. We can't be in everybody's business and understand our own at the same time. So the focus is what happened to us, not to say it didn't happen all over the world. That's the problem. If we stop worrying about what happened to other countries, we can, narrow ourselves in to think about what happened to us. So I don't know where you're going with that, bro, but I really wish you would just chill, because we're trying to learn about our history here, not all other parts of the earth. It doesn't help us at all.
Facts.
We have to focus on what took place on this landmass in order to figure out, what has really been going on. I mean, it's very obvious that there was a takeover of a specific people, but for the people that took over us to tell us that all of them died, all of the Indians died of the Spanish flu, is bullshit. How does that possibly happen? If all of our ancestors died of the Spanish flu, well, what happened to the white people that was standing right there next to them? Why they ain't dropped dead? So that, that's just like COVID. Everybody didn't die of that. I'm still here, and it went around. I seen literally on the news where white people died of this, and brown people here in America. So if that's the case, that's the same shit that should have happened back during the time when they said we caught the Spanish flu. They didn't give any reportings of white people dropping dead from it, just the Indians, which is all the unrecognized niggas that they don't want to talk about, which would be me and you and you and you and you.
Us.
So I'm not, this is the history that we get, and it's wrong. We're the only people that's been held down from the real shit. Yeah, smallpox, whatever you call it. Spanish flu, smallpox, all this
still
shit.
being held down. Still being held down.
So, I mean, I'm still trying to figure this whole thing out, but we have more than enough information to bring actions against this government, and it's a fact, a true fact. They finally passed a law where employers no longer have to meet quotas. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know how they have to have a specific quota, and we call it, you got to at least hire somebody but based on their color. They did away with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure that there's other avenues that they're saying, no, don't pick them because of their color. Pick them based on their intelligence. You still can be discriminated against because you picked more white people, but you neglected to pick any other people from other races, other classifications with the same skill, if not better. So I don't know how they're going to work that, but yeah, for a very, very long time, corporations had to meet quotas. They have a certain amount of minorities. They don't have to do that. And from what I'm seeing, I haven't read what the specifics. I haven't got all the specifics, but this is where our people need to step up and stop begging to get in their jobs. Start opening your own fucking companies. If not, you just asked out. Right?
Pretty much.
Open your own one. You got, and if somebody opens an insurance company and they happen to be a white person, they don't have to hire a bunch of black people or meet a certain quota. You want to work for an insurance company, open up your own. You don't have the education, well, take your ass to school and learn like everybody else. Pretty much. We had our own businesses back during the Black Wall Street times. So why can't we get them now? Did we become dumb that we can't open our own businesses? Or will it be a threat of the Democrats burning it down again? You know, this whole bullshit with the student loan thing is like really beyond me at this point. He fucking knew that he was outside of his authority to do that. And he knew he was going to be, that shit was going to get overturned, especially if someone brought something against him that he stepped out of his authority. He went beyond his authority. He knew that, but he needed something to blame the Republicans on. And there it is. Oh, all the public Republicans, the Senate, this is why your student loans can't be wiped out. Now, this bullshit. The Republicans can't, as justices, they have to honor the Constitution. So if somebody said that you made a decision outside of your authority, the justices have to stick to that. Doesn't matter if it was the majority of Republicans or Democrats. But the point is, your ass knew that it was going to get struck down because you knew that you operated out of your authority, beyond your authority as a president. So you really have to understand that not everybody's as stupid as you thought they used to be. Yes, some of us are people that are dumb and indoctrinated by Democrats are going to strongly believe, oh, it was the Republicans who struck it down. The majority of no, they're sticking to the Constitution. The issue that was raised was that the president made a decision beyond his authority. He does not have authority to wipe out student loan debt. That's something that has to be decided by Congress.
Facts.
Now, my question is, who has the authority to wipe out student loan debt? Can a law be passed? Congress can certainly pass that law, but does the FDIC have the authority? Aren't they the central banking system or the United States Department of Education commissioner? If he decides to wipe out, if he makes it a policy to wipe out student loan debt, is he speaking beyond his authority, or is that, can they say yes because that money's owed to the bank? Is it owed to the bank? Is it owed to the bank? I mean, who controls the banks? Is that the FDIC? Who controls the banks? Do y'all know?
JP.
Well,
JP Morgan Chase. And we can go on with the names.
Do they have authority to wipe out debt?
No, they
Student loan
don't.
debt. How come?
They don't.
I thought they controlled the banks. Who? I mean, FDIC. Don't they insure the banks? Correct.
Correct.
All right. So who has the question to say, okay, nobody has to pay their student loan? Obviously,
only a governor of a state can do that for a state. De facto states, which because it's only 13 colonies.
but did that money come from the states? The student loan debt come from the states? Doesn't it come from tax dollars?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay, so all of it's not state tax dollars.
Where else is it coming from? It got to come from the blood, sweat, equity of the people who putting their trust into that loan.
Okay,
that's why they told Biden, get out of here with that, man. You can't wait this out.
It is the SEC, Securities Exchange Commission.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do they have the authority to wipe out student loan debt?
Nope.
How come? If they're the ones who got the last call, they got the power. It's controlled by the Security Exchange Commission of the federal government. So if it is, then that commission has a right to say, all right, we deceived all the people based on education. We gave them crappy education. We taught them lies about their history. And we allow the college professors were allowed to continue this lie about a particular population's history. Let us wipe out their debts because we lied about history.
They can't do it.
And they paid for this lie. So you're saying the Security Exchange Commission can't do that. Somebody has the authority to wipe out student loan debt. The power is in Congress. They can pass a bill. They can.
Like I said,
they can pass a bill based on facts.
That's truthfully.
There were lies taught to the people, and college professors were deceived and have begun teaching this long-held lie.
Right. That's facts. That's facts.
I'm just asking.
I'm just
asking.
But they don't have the power because before it was a president, it was something called the royal governor.
No,
and that's why
we're talking in the 50 states. You going back too far, yo.
No. I'm talking about 50 states. That's why you got a governor in every 51 states. The governor at one time was called the royal governor.
The governor does not have the power to wipe out student debt. He does not. He has to go through the legislature. No, he don't. No, he does not. I just gave you the job responsibilities of the governor. They can create policies. If the governor was to, they would do them just like the president. The power is in the legislator, not the governor. The governor can only propose and set out executive orders, but his executive orders can be challenged and deemed unconstitutional.
You said the key word, legislator. Legislators enforce the laws. Yeah,
no, they
don't.
No, they do not enforce the laws. The governor enforces all the laws made by the legislator. The legislators are the lawmakers. The executive branch are the enforcers of the law. The judicial branches are the interpreters of the law.
Correct.
It's 3 branches of government, and they have distinct powers.
Yes, 4.
So the legislator makes the laws. They pass them. The governor is the executive branches who enforces those laws passed by the legislator. And if someone thinks that those laws are unconstitutional or a policy made by a specific state agency is unconstitutional, like classifying somebody as a nigger, that can be challenged. It can be challenged in court, state courts, or district courts, or state courts. They can be challenged in state courts from the Supreme, appellate, and trial court. Then you got a district courts or federal courts. You have the state courts, and they have the 3 levels. They have the trial level, the superior, then they have the appellate, and then they have the state Supreme Court.
So what about the king
policies and executive orders can be challenged, and the judicial branch interprets the Constitution and deems whether an executive order or a policy imposed by a government agency is constitutional or unconstitutional based on the state's constitution. They do the same thing at every state that Congress does. Every state is set up just like the federal, like the federal government.
Right.
And Congress has the power at the federal level. Then the Supreme Court justices, they interpret the congressional laws. Facts.
Right.
And the president enforces them. And that's the connection that the president has with the different states. He's like, the governor is like the liaison between the federal government and state government.
With inside this corporation, correct?
I'm sorry?
With inside this corporation, correct?
Correct. So I just say this. I say this so everyone knows that even at the president's level, his executive orders can be challenged. They can be deemed constitutional or unconstitutional. And the 9 Supreme Court justices makes that determination. Just like in a state government, if the governor issues an executive order, it can be challenged. And the judicial court, state courts, they deem them constitutional or unconstitutional.
Correct.
Based on the state's constitution. If it's a federal crime and it's handled in district court, which is a federal court, they deem constitutional or unconstitutional based on the U.S. Constitution. Yeah, so there's a lot of questions to be asked. There's a lot that they have to answer to as it pertains to the lawsuit that we're filing. So
yes, ma'am.
I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah, because the people who I deal with, we in the parliament with it. Like I said, we know that it was at one time it was called the King's Bench, which became later the Supreme Court, which stands today. But the King's Bench was ours here in America.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, you might want to look it up. The King's Bench.
I heard of it. We were not.
The King's Bench became the Supreme Court after they took over.
No, look, England, Britain, they had their own system. They had their king and their queen over there like they have now.
They actors. They call.
I don't believe that.
Heads of states. They are not really. They're just holding a position that don't even exist. You never heard the Queen of England saying, "Let's go to war." She ain't sent no planes nowhere. They nobody. They just heads of states.
Nope, I haven't had any proof. I don't have any proof. I mean, I can't believe what
They
comes out
hold no
of
authority.
I
They
I
hold
have a
no authority.
I have a problem believing what people say out their mouth and they don't put anything out to show. Rather than to tell me look it up, you should bring the information that you found that made you believe that.
I'm gonna grab some stuff for you, Sister Betsy,
Yeah,
because
I need it because I won't
you are
believe it.
very knowledgeable. You know what's going on, but it's
I
just certain
do, but
things.
I go by the information that I pull. This is not some
Exactly.
random. It's not
I
something
mean,
random
but
that comes out my
I
head.
pull language. I pull language and facts from the things that I look up on my time. I don't bring
Right.
it on here.
So I
You
mean, if
understand
you
me?
okay, no, I get that. But you speaking about that, I would thought that you would have something at hand where you can produce.
I just look up the King's Bench.
No, I want you to bring the information to me because
It
when I
wouldn't
get
it
ready,
wouldn't it wouldn't hurt you to just look up King's
no,
Bench.
I would like you to share with me because I share everything
I would
that
love to
that
share it with you up. I just can't pull it up like that right now. I
okay,
apologize, but
well,
yes, ma'am, I'll try to get it. I'll try to get it
when
right.
yeah, when you get a chance, I mean, pull it up and save it so you can share it with us. I would like to see it.
Yeah,
I'm
because
too busy
it's certain.
looking for my own stuff. But
Right.
I I mean, I don't know what your background is. Are you a Moor? I don't know.
I'm
Are
not a
you a
Moor. I mean, we all are Moors. Just because
I see there you
Moor
go. I
just
don't
simply
believe that.
mean.
I
I'm
don't
saying
believe that.
Moor just mean they was calling us black in a different language.
I I don't
That's
believe
all
that.
that mean. Moors just mean they was calling us black or
I don't believe
Negro
that.
in a
I
different language.
I don't
I
believe
don't
that.
claim to be a Moor because I'm not from Morocco. I'm from
Okay,
America.
but I'm saying if you could show me something that states that. I hear that come out of people's mouth, but they never show anything that literally says that. All it means. That's why I have such a hard time because I hear it out of people's mouth more so than they actually show the proof, show that proof. And so that's where they lose me at when they don't present it. I have a hard time believing it. Otherwise, I'm just listening to shit like the Hebrews. I mean, our brothers that's Hebrew Israelites. I know them niggas ain't no Hebrew Israelites because they're going by the Bible. They're going by a book that was brought here. So I know mentally that they're not the characters in the Bible. That's crazy. I'm like, why would some black guy from England named King James bring a book here to you and tell you to convert and die? And yet these brothers that grew up in the hood with me became those characters in the same book. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
I'm like, when I see a lot of Hebrew Israelites, brother, and I asked them this, before you were Hebrew, you were something else. You were an aboriginal to North America. Now you reading the Bible and now you become those characters and you're the Israelites that they're talking about. That makes no sense to me. I
And
grew
no
up with you.
disrespect.
I grew up with you in kindergarten, bruh. And all of a sudden, you're now these characters in this Bible that they brought here.
Right.
So that always confused me with them.
That's facts. That's facts. I mean,
I
but
mean, I'm not ranking on them or nothing, but I'm thinking
no,
logically.
no, no. Yeah, we just speaking.
I'm just
Just
thinking
speaking.
logically. How did you
Yeah.
become? How did you become that? And the book was brought here.
Overnight. Overnight though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know.
It's a lot. We learning. We all are
And
learning.
then we got people claiming to be Egyptians. I'm like, I'm really all fucked up. Our people are really confounded, are really gone. I'm serious. I mean, if I grew up with you in kindergarten and all of a sudden you're this fucking Egyptian, and I'm like, How did you become an? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. So
I'm just keep it. I just like to keep it like 100. I'm not Egyptian. I don't speak Egyptian. I'm not a Moor. I don't speak Moroccan. I speak English. And everybody come to our country to this day and they learn English. They got to study for 7 years to learn English and how we live. Us copper colored people in America before they come over here. Every African, every Irish, pale, they got to learn English before they come to our land.
That's probably why they be so mad.
The only free person in this world is the Englishman. That's why they labeled us as slaves. The only true person have true rights is the English. And the British, the motherfuckers over there claiming to be royalty, they are British English.
Yeah, but also you got to remember, British is more than one race of people. You have Irish, that consists of Britain.
Exactly.
You got Irish, the Dutch, all these European nations.
Scotland.
That's British. So it's a lot to learn, and it's a lot that we were deprived of about history as a people.
Yes, ma'am.
But
we really need to just
a little bit too far.
we really need to just sit back and think for a second. Like,
I mean,
why do we only know English? All these people that come from another land have another language, but they got to learn English to come over here to fuck with us and get paid off of us. They've been invading us.
Well, another thing that I find very hard and interesting, because we've been so hurt by these supposedly educators of history, I don't believe them. I after what they've done as far as teaching our history, and for us to, have the ability now to go out and research and find things that just don't make sense. I have a hard time believing archaeologists. We found this. I don't believe none of their asses. I don't care. I don't believe none of them.
Me too, neither.
So I go by what's real. And we have more than enough information to prove our case. So it is what it is. But I've been out for 3.5 hours, you guys. I love you, Dubai Mom. He who is, I appreciate you for coming on the panel.
I appreciate you for letting me.
I really want to get off of here and get myself some rest. I can't believe it's 8 o'clock. I want something sweet now. After eating that pizza, now I want something sweet, like some chocolate donuts or something.
Some banana pudding.
Oh no, I don't want no banana pudding.
You don't want no banana.
I love banana pudding too.
Yes, indeed. Hey, I appreciate it, Queen, Chief. I love you. I love all my people. And like I said, let's just keep building.
I love my people too. Yeah.
Let's just keep building. Yeah, and like you say, stay in that court. Stay in that court on their head. Stay on their neck.
Yeah.
Like I said,
I have these bills because I like the dialogue. It's not that we're fighting, because there was not one fight or argument up here. And this is the way I like the dialogue on my channel. No, it's not me fighting with He Who Is or with the Bomb Mom. We're dialoguing and learning. Right. Sharing what we know so we can try and piece it together. That's the way I see dialoguing on a panel. I'm not gonna go out and say, "Oh, the Bomb Mom, you no." I want to hear, so we can say, "Well, let's ask logical questions to what the Bomb Mom shared with us." Same thing with me. Let's ask logical questions with what Sister Bethy shared with us. Same thing. Let's ask logical questions with He Who Is shared with us, and try and brainstorm on it. When we do that, people are less reluctant and want to join the conversation. But
Because
when
we
they
all
see us
help each
quiet,
other become free
yeah,
thinkers. Everybody's thinking freely. Nobody's being programmed. We're here to share information so that we can have a better understanding. But thank you so much for letting me up, Sister Becky. I love you too. You have
Yes,
a good
I
indeed.
love
night.
you too,
Yes,
sweetheart.
indeed.
Yeah,
Y'all have a
I
blessed night.
same deal. I love having these conversations, y'all. It's fun. I really
Yes.
like it. I
It's
do. I really
beautiful. It's
I
beautiful.
like having these conversations. We're learning, and nobody's, like fighting. I just want to ask logical questions, and then they get answered. Like when smoke came up, smoke can shut you down
Yeah.
quick.
Oh
But
yeah.
we were dialoguing, and he raised some serious concerns. So I'm
Fact.
thinking, I'm like, well, damn, I never thought of it that way. He always give you, some different
Another
areas.
angle.
Yeah, and that I really like that because it's helpful. Because
Hmm.
when you're stuttering, you're zoomed in onto what you found. You're zoomed in onto what you found. But it
Exactly.
takes someone outside of your narrow zone to
Hmm.
raise, questions from another angle. And I like that. I do. It helps
I do
us.
too.
So I'm gonna get out of here and say I love everybody. Y'all hit the like.
I
I'm going to
love
get me
everybody
I'm going to
also.
get me some damn chocolate donuts.
Have a blessed
I
night,
got it.
sister.
Same to you, bro. I'm so God. I can't. I had a really great time. I really did. But
I
see y'all
did too.
later.
Yes, indeed.
Look, I'm high off a round of applause, taking the cash to deposit. All of that talking is polished. Straight out the gate, they sing praise, but I'm unapproachable, save it. Can't tell me shit, I've been on one. Losing my grip and I'm slipping. We still alive, but ain't living. Anxiety fall through to cripple me. Your calls going missing. The devil busy, he tempt me. Too much elixir, my enemy. In my mind, it's like 10 of me. They don't sound like your symphony. Sucking all of my energy. I'm not asking for empathy. Unless it's for the babies of the street, they a product of colic. Reality is running up to rob me of my sleep. The world been cold as gravity is pushing down. It's hard to breathe. Still it's solid on one knee. My pen is hollow, let it bleed. Trying to convince me that you give a fuck about my needs. How you finna fix the issue y'all don't even see? You can miss me with them empty gestures. I do more to get by without it. I'm a living legend. You say you was try to die. I'ma need you by my side. I've been living on the edge, just trying to get it together. Tell me, can you hold me down? Tell me, can you hold me down? I could really use your presence. Give mine in return. I know everything been hella hectic, but that body so angelic. Pull up quick, make you forget things for a minute. Take it slowly when I'm in it. Feel the flow, take all the tension that you pent up, then expend it. Don't pretend like you ain't worth way more than everything I got. You need to stop it. When I'm with you, it's no limitation. You playing games, give me attention, then you real evasive. But I'm no better, I've been guarded. No, my rap sheet isn't flawless. Pull some slick shit, got you on my line, live it. I'm not careful with your feelings all the time, the way I should be. I need you to hold me down, I wanna drown in what we could be. I could be your safe space, you tug on my emotions while I'm giving you that grade A. Before we go another round, here come